Welcome to Bears Country. I'm sorry. What an amazing gaffe on my part. My producer, my wife, Kitty, is not here with me, and I pause for that, or I apologize for that 2 minute of 2 minutes of darkness. Uh, we, I owe everything that I'm doing here to my wife, Kitty, and she's not doing this with me tonight. So I'm trying to run the show myself, and it's just been a little bit of a disaster. So what I want to say is, uh, I have a great show lined up for you tonight. I have my special guest tonight is Nomad from all the Bears chats. Everyone knows Nomad in the Bears chats, just like I do. It's always fun to talk to him. He has a lot of things to say. We kind of been talking about some things, and he really wanted to come on the podcast, and I really wanted to have him on the podcast. And it's actually an honor to have him on here so we can talk some Bears and we can talk some optimism, because today's show is about optimism leading up into next week's first preseason game. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him on here now. I really apologize for that gaffe on my part, everyone. Kitty, I love you. Please come home. All right, we're going to bring on Nomad here. Nomad, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. It's my birthday weekend, and I'm kind of starting early with some Jameson and some cheap ass beer right now.
Well, that's good, man. And you got to have like a little pregame, like we just did like a whole couple of minutes that we thought was live, but was not. So you kind of got to work some of that out of you. I'm like, why is there nobody in chat?
Nobody needs to know how the sausage is made, man.
Exactly. I look up, I'm like, oh, that says go live. Okay, yeah, I should probably do that. So, Kitty, please come home. I need you. Well, at least, I mean, the more gaffes like this, I guess I'll just figure it out myself. So,
hey, we both new to us, man. New to it. We'll figure it out.
Absolutely, man. No, man, I appreciate you coming on tonight. This is awesome. I love your opinions and the things you have to say in Bears chat and things like that. So, let's just go ahead and start this all over again. Let's give us a little background about yourself.
Well, I'm a kind of a private person, so I have a lot of friends that have played and are still playing in the league. And I don't name drop because I think that's kind of like bragging. So I'll be vague with all that kind of stuff. So I did play football at a high enough level to be qualified to know what I speak of. So just know that ahead of time. And I got a lot of depth into some of the things that go on behind the scenes and some of the stuff that really goes on on a NFL football team that most people don't know about.
And I can't wait to dive into this with you because I feel like I know you. Like it's like I literally, to everyone in the audience, I have no idea who Nomad is. Nomad is he's remained completely anonymous to myself, and I really appreciate that. And I'm happy that you're doing that because not everyone wants to be out there.
You make me sound like a bankrupt.
No, man. No. I appreciate it because in my mind, I think you're a former Chicago Bear. But
no. I never played in the league. Got okay. Close.
I'm just gonna pretend in my mind like I'm talking to Lance Briggs or something.
Okay, I'm good with that.
All right, so go ahead. You had some great points that we were talking about in the green room and talking about before the podcast, and I really was very interested in some of the things you had to say. So let's go ahead and just roll some of those out because they're great talking points that we can just use for the next while. So,
all right,
you have the floor, buddy.
Let me throw a little curveball. We got into a piece of this when we thought we were live and we weren't live, but
right.
One of my best friends, we both played football at a high level, and when the Bears when they got rid of Nagy and Pace, we got on the phone and we start talking about, who we thought that they might bring. We threw all kinds of different names out there. And I was really, really expressing to him the way I thought the Bears should go. And I thought the Bears should go with somebody from the Ravens organization and build the way the Ravens build their team. Mm-hmm. And, after they hired Poles and Eberflus, they went and hired Ian Cunningham. And Ian Cunningham, after doing some research on him, come to find out that he was cut from the Ozzie Newsome claw, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of cut his teeth there. And if you watch the Ravens close enough, you know that they don't really draft players. They draft personality types.
Mm-hmm.
They draft physical, tough football players with
Mm-hmm.
attitudes,
Mm-hmm.
and they're always in contention every year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I watched and I listened to. I think I seen an article somewhere that said, they were building in the mold of the Ravens,
Hmm.
and it just excited me.
Mm-hmm.
I started thinking about Matt Eberflus and start doing the homework on him and how he builds a defense and gets those guys to play for him. And I'm telling you guys right now, they are on the path. If you got anything bad to say about the McCaskies, they probably deserve it. But I think they got this one right, man. I really
I,
do.
I feel like the blind squirrel finally got the nut,
Or
Nomad.
something. They got it this time. I really do believe that. My
When
instincts tell me that.
mine do too. Um, when you listen to our coach talk, and this kind of brings up the perfect time for me to pull up the only clip that we have about the coach. I want to show you this. This is from yesterday's press conference. I love how he handles the media in these situations that the media pisses me off with. And the way that he handles these kind of situations really excites me when I think about the future with him as a head coach. Let's take a look at this really quick. Oh, I have no audio. Well, damn it. Again, I don't have my wife here. Sorry, everyone. But the point that he was trying to make was when the media is asking stupid questions, he shuts them down. Like he doesn't sit there and get nervous and sweaty and of course we've all heard about the paper shuffling and stuff. But even in the video clip I was about to show you, maybe I'll try to uh, actually correct it and put it in the link at the end. Is that he doesn't get nervous. He start in the beginning as head coach. He was kind of nervous and shuffling his papers a lot and moving his pens around. And the further we've gotten into his coaching tenure, he's now become a lot more focused, and he's learning how to handle this crazy media better.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think
Well,
about that?
first of all, Nick Welsh, what's going on, my guy? I see you up there. And
Yeah.
listen, man, you know what Eberflus is? Eberflus is a throwback. He reminds me so much of my coaches in college. These guys, what they do, I'll tell you how they pull off the stuff that they pull off. They ask those players to do pretty much. I need you to go not 100%. I need you to go that 1% over.
Right.
Put everything on the line for me. And how they get people to do that is that buy-in part I was talking about at the beginning. They went in that building and they found the guys that they thought that they could groom and get that buy-in out of. Everybody else got out of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is an old school coach who focuses on the fundamentals. If you hear him talking about like the rudiments of the game, right? You hear him say that a few times. You hear him talking about striking and doing things like that. Hustle. This is basic stuff, man. This is basic stuff you expect a football player to know coming out of the gate. But some way, somehow, once you get to a certain level and regimes, depending on who you're playing for, you might not have that as an emphasis.
Right.
And then you might not get the performance that you possibly could get out of yourself if you don't have someone putting the emphasis on it. So you got guys that we might have had guys that we probably seen 90% of. This is the kind of guy that can get that other 10% out of you.
What did you play? Did you play offense or defense?
I played defense mostly, but when I went to college, I was an athlete. They put me everywhere.
So what defensive scheme did you play in?
4-3. I know
Okay.
I know it like a book, man.
Okay, that's awesome. So you're going to have a lot of insight on this. This is going to be great. So what do you think about? I mean, you talked about the buy-in. So the buy-in is the first point. When you have the buy-in everyone is then going to start flying to the ball. When you trust in your coaches, when you want to learn from them, when you actually realize they're trying to teach you something instead of just, you know, shrugging it off as, and by the way, the character that they brought in on the team too adds to the ability of the buy-in too. So I mean, I'm very excited about where this defense is going to go this year. I really am. I think in fact, I'm so excited about the defense. I just kind of, that's an afterthought to me. I'm more focused on how good the offense could be because I know the defense is going to be good. You know, with that buy-in.
Shorty, listen, man. Let me tell you something. With the young guys that they got coming in on that defense, the free agents that they brought in, all these guys on these light
1 year
contracts and
contracts.
yeah, man. Listen, don't underestimate that. These guys, if you heard Posey, they brought in a bunch of guys that want another bite at the apple next round of free agency. So they got something to prove out there.
Right.
You know, these guys want the bag. They want the money. And they want to go out there and make a point out there. I'm telling you right now, that defense the energy out there is going to be kinetic.
I know.
Kinetic. I mean, static electricity out there.
I feel it too, man.
I'm telling you, and it's that in that you talking about they're focusing on takeaways. That's all. Listen, man, you got a young quarterback and installing a brand new offense, and it's going to be clunky. It's going to be a bunch of hiccups and misfires all along the way for a good while. But if you got a good enough defense that can get that ball back to you, the more and more bites of the apple you get at it, you're going to be in games because you can run the ball.
Yes.
You can run the ball effectively. You're going to be in games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean to cut you off, but go ahead.
No, you weren't cutting me off. I was just thinking about the potential of this running game. When you said that, it just blew up my head. Montgomery and God, who's the Herbert and the Treston Ebner, and we signed Dontarian. What's his name from the Titans? Darrington Evans. Now we have a real fullback. Like you just got me thinking about the running game. Sorry, I didn't mean to. That's because there's a lot of excitement that I'm thinking of coming out of that offense with the running game. You know, let's go back to the defense. So what they have here with the pieces that they have in Brisker, like the Brisker, when they signed Dane Cruikshank, were you happy with that? Because I know I was.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a very underrated signing right there.
Absolutely.
Very underrated. Very physical, big safety.
In fact, Eberflus didn't even mention him when he rattled off the safeties that they're going to be able to use in different fronts. When I don't know if he did it on purpose, but in the press conference, I was just trying to pull up a clip on. I didn't pull up a clip of that, but in that press conference, he talked about it and the things he's going to be able to do with the multiple safeties that they have. I mean, you think about Brisker. Does Brisker excite you? I mean, Brisker is the key. Brisker and Gordon, to me, obviously, are the key to this defense. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, Brisker and Gordon, listen, they'll be in prominent positions to make plays. I'll give you first before I get into that, man. Listen, they're invested heavily in the safety position as well as the cornerback position. I don't think they have the depth at corner that they want to have just yet. I think they're testing things out there. I think some stuff will get revealed later in practices and preseason. But they brought 3 or 4 corners in for tryouts today, I think. So just so you know that. But
I didn't know
that safety position, man, in this the way teams play football right now, you gotta. It's almost like that Sam linebacker. You'll get in the game at times when there's definitely going to be a run, but you pretty much not going to see the field except on special teams because they're going to have that nickel in there, and then they'll go heavy dime, and he did a lot of that stuff in Indianapolis, and I understand why, because you don't want, say, a Jack Sanborn stuck on a Deebo Samuel in the slot, do you? You know, so you don't. You definitely don't want to see that happen. You don't want any linebacker to have to be dealing with that guy. So he's going to lean heavy into his DBs to form that defense and have them be effective.
What do you think that's going to mean for the defensive line?
Well, they're going to have to get pressure. And thank God we kept Robert Quinn, and Robert Quinn wants to be here. And I think, to me, the weakest part of, from a distance, what I see, I haven't been out to any practices yet, but I get, a little information here and there from people that I'm worried about the 3 tech. Not worried. I just want to see them get some depth. I want to see who they're rotating in and out of that position, because it's going to be so important. That 3 tech, that's what I'm worried about.
Do you think with the safeties that they have that they're going to be moving to more of a hybrid in situations, more of a
definitely
more of a, what was it, a 5-2-4?
They're definitely going. They'll play with more
4-2-5. Sorry,
I'd say 60. They'll have DBs out there. It depends on, you got Alan Williams calling the defense now. Now you can look at the Indianapolis tape and you can assume anything you want from the Indianapolis tape. That's how Eberflus called the defense.
right.
Alan Williams has got the keys now. He might go any which way. And I got a feeling they want Kyler Gordon in that nickel spot because they want to blitz heavy out of that spot. He's such a versatile athlete. There's so many things you can do with a guy that versatile and that agile pre-snap, and then have that taken away post-snap because he can recover. He's that agile. He's got agility like a cat, man.
Mm-hmm.
Very rare. I mean, I don't want to brag, but me and him have a similar skill set. He's probably 10, 15 pounds heavier than I was at that position, but just as fucking agile, man.
Yeah.
He's something special.
He is something special. I mean, you look at him, all that I did a little breakdown on him, and well, it wasn't a breakdown, it was just like a little video on him and the reasons why I thought that I feel he could possibly be a Hall of Famer. And all the things that I see in that Hall of Famer are all the things that he did as a child and all the different sports. I mean, his parents put him into every single thing, no matter what it was. If it was acting, if it was dancing, if it was, baseball, if it was basketball, football, all these different things. And it was because his brain, it was like gobbling all of it up, and it needed it to succeed. And it's just progressed into, as he's gotten older, you see like just how intelligent he is. I mean, the day that they drafted him, I could tell by the look on his face. I said to my wife, I was like, that looks like a superstar. Like just that little, he had that little kind of smile on his face when he was putting on the hat in the mirror. And it was like, that kind of has a little bit of, I don't know, man. There's something to that smile there that he's like, I know, I'm about to whip this league's ass.
Hey, Shorty, can I interrupt you? You just triggered a memory, man, and I just can't help it.
Absolutely,
listen,
go ahead.
My position coach, when I got there my freshman year, I'm not gonna say where I went to school at, because eventually somebody's gonna find out and they're gonna blow my cover. But anyway,
I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you.
That's all right, man. Look, he made me take a dance class and made me take side yoga classes. And as a 17, 18-year-old kid, and I'm like, man, what in the fuck are you trying to do? No.
Yeah.
I was pissed. But then I got in there. I had to do it. I got in there, especially in the yoga instructor. The yoga instructor opened my eyes to a whole another side of my ability, because it started unlocking my muscle potential. Mm-hmm. Right? It started. I understood parts of my body muscle-wise that I had no clue of before that. And it carried on into the dance class and doing all that kind of stuff. So Kyler's his past, I understand it. And I'm telling you, that has everything to do with his cat-like agility. He understands his muscle parts and how explosive parts of his body is in order to be able to make plays. Mm-hmm. This dude is in tune with his body. And I'm telling you, You did listen to his. I tell you what. Listen to his introductory press conference. No, it wasn't an introductory press conference. I think it was right after the draft or something.
Yeah.
He was talking about Darrelle Revis is a guy that he looked to as far as someone he looked up to, and you look at Darrelle Revis tape, and that guy he was very different. He's nowhere near as agile as Kyler Gordon, but he's a very sticky corner, just like Kyler.
Yeah,
always
absolutely.
in somebody's hip pocket. You know, he's always in position to make a play. And so, you know, I might have ranted a little bit, but that guy right there is a unicorn. I promise you that.
No, you did not rant at all. Everything that you said is just, you couldn't have said any better than what I was going to say. Like, it's just all the things that he's done that has tuned his body to be to where he is today, to make it to the NFL. And you're seeing it, like you said, the body control, the muscle memory that you learn from doing things like that you're able to translate to the field when you're trying to go up for an interception, or his vertical leap, his mother corrected me in my comments because I said it wrong in the video, and then I tried to correct myself in the comments and I fucked that up. so she corrected me. His mother came on and corrected me that it was a 42.5 and it was a record. So he might be 5'11" and 3/4, 6 foot, but he jumps like a gazelle. And did you watch the Meet the Rookies?
Oh my God, man!
Did you see how he was jumping over those horses? Just bing, bing, bing.
Man,
bing.
listen. Let me explain something to you, man. That you don't see that.
No,
that is not normal.
No,
that is not normal. That's a kid. Everybody. I heard it was some kind of a little joke going around Twitter about Kyler Gordon's ballet video and all that kind of shit and all that. Excuse my language, man. I hope I can cuss a little bit on here, man.
No, you're good.
But,
you can cuss a little bit. You already dropped the fuck bomb a couple of times, so you're good. You just apologize for shit.
That's not my fault, man. That's just cheap ass beer, man. That ain't my fault. No, but it was a little thing going around. Kyler knows he's got to deal with all those little videos about him looking like a little princess out there doing ballet and all that stuff. But eventually, when that guy gets into his career and starts to really refine himself as a cornerback and starts to be a playmaker out there, trust me, it's going to be people that follow suit as to what got him there. All that yoga and dancing and all that stuff, people will follow suit because it worked for him. Mm-hmm. Why not me?
Mm-hmm. And 10 years from now, you're going to be seeing all the kids that have quarterbacks, young cornerbacks, and young wide receivers, and young running backs, and even young. You got to take some ballet lessons. I'm sorry. For sure.
Listen, if you're a football player, I want to talk to anybody out there that might be listening to this and half-assed into playing football. Let me explain something to you. If you want to play at the next level, you have to put heavy investments into your body. Heavy investments. That's your number one investment. You don't have anything more valuable than your body. So however you need to get your body to 100% peak, maximum potential, you take that route without being on drugs and steroids and things like that. But take that route. Take whatever avenue you need to get to the point you need yourself to get to. Mm-hmm. If that means ballet, you get in and take a damn class.
Yeah. And yoga. My back's killing me right now. I couldn't imagine trying yoga, but I wish I would have done it 5 years ago. My back might not be killing me now.
I had no idea how flexible I could be, man. No idea.
Right. I bet, like, even when I was playing in the high school football, I could never, bend down and touch my toes. Like, my hamstrings were always too tight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you Julio Jones?
I guess so. It's probably what's translated into my sciatic nerve issues now.
I've got that going on myself, man. That's not funny, man. That's real stuff.
Dude, I had problems with it for like a year there. I was like, is it over?
Man.
Am I done now? I'm only 47 and life's already over.
Nah,
I just went and saw a chiropractor. I was better.
This no, those yoga techniques they show you on their YouTube videos, they actually work, man. They work for me for sure.
I bet I do need to try them. I really should.
So,
Yeah.
your first point was buy-in. Like, so what do you want to lead into your second point?
I think I spoke on it a little bit, but the energy, man. And you get a lot of people that will tell you in these chats and these podcasts that they got all these rookies out here. They ain't got no vet. Listen, man, I can. You got the right kind of coach out there right now that can turn that into a positive. Because their energy, the level of energy, you got a whole bunch of guys out there that are right around the same age, no more than 2 or 3 years apart from each other. That's the bulk of the team, and they're growing. They're gonna grow up together, and they're being asked to be absolutely physical out there, absolutely physical, fly, have nothing but energy, and we will win games because you know why? We'll be more conditioned than these guys, so we can, from the energy we bring in the first quarter, the first snap, we can have that in the fourth quarter at the end of the game.
Right.
That's gonna win you games. I've seen this team straight punk out in fourth quarters and late in games. Because they didn't have the endurance. They wasn't conditioned. They were no condition to play.
And we've seen in the Lovie Smith era when they were doing kind of the same thing. They didn't do that in the fourth quarter, and now we're kind of see it now when they're talking, when you hear the players in the press conferences talking about, holy shit.
Yeah,
we are going at it, and they're all loving it because they know it's making them better.
Listen, Shorty, that guy is onto something. When I tell you, when he came in there focusing on conditioning, when I tell you he's on to something, that is, let me just, you talking about the difference between winning and losing a game. And it's a game of inches. And if you got what it takes in the fourth quarter and that other team is sucking wind and you can beat the hell out of them on the ground running that ball, what can they do to you? They got their hands on their hip. They don't want to see you line up again. They're tired. I know what that looks like and feels like.
Yeah,
I've been on the other end of that.
And they're going to run the ball again. You're like, damn,
and you can't do shit about
it. Exactly.
And you can't do, and you hate the hell they got a 200+ pound running back there, and you got to tackle.
Right.
Like, I got to hit this dude, man. Come on, man.
So what did you weigh when you played in college?
I got up to 185.
185. And you had to blast people with all you had with that weight, huh?
Dude, I came in at I think 170. I put on 15 pounds of muscle my freshman year.
Wow.
Coming home in the summer.
Wow. From high school into college?
Yeah, I was absolutely ripped, man.
Wow.
I'm only 5'10", so it is what it is. But that was pretty standard, and it still is right now. For
sure.
You
could play. Yeah. You could be a solid nickel at 5'10".
Yeah, you can play anything. I had a 41-inch vertical, man.
Ooh, okay.
I could leap. I didn't know it was important really until I got to school. I'm like, yeah, I can dunk and do all that kind of shit. It didn't matter. But when I got to school, I realized how much it made a difference. Like, I'll give you one good example. You could be a great leaper off of 2 feet, right? However, are you a great leaper off of 1 foot? Are you a great leaper off of your opposite foot, the one that you don't explode often? Can you get that leg strong enough to be explosive? Because in the game, you don't know which leg you're going to leap off of when you trail on a receiver, do you?
No, and this leads me into an area that I was talking to my buddy about, that I think that they should add a couple of things to the combine. And I think that he said that they had this. You might know this. I'm not sure, but they have the vertical leap in the combine, right? But do they also have, I'm wondering what, like a 2-step or like a 3-step, like if you're standing under a basketball rim and you're dunking it from flat foot, how much higher are you going to be able to get if you're running from the free throw line? You're going to get a couple more inches on that vertical because you're using you're building up momentum and you're pushing off power with that leg that's going to build the momentum to dunk the ball with. So
Right.
I almost wish they would have two different parts to that vertical, but I think my buddy said that they actually have like a 3-step vertical or something in there. Do you know anything about that?
No, I haven't heard anything about it. I put very little anything that I don't get really much out of a combine, man. I don't.
Yeah,
It's just a meat market to me,
it is a
and
meat market.
it's just you know what you know when you look at the tape. You know a football player when you see one.
That's kind of why I wanted to take some of the meat market out of the combine by using like a 5-step vertical, or like instead of you have the 40-yard dash that you run from that position, and we all know that the most important part of a 40-yard dash is getting out of your stance quick because you're in
Exactly.
that, right. But what if you put somebody in a wide receiver stance? What's their 40-yard dash going to be compared to the other stance? I'm just kind of I'd be curious to know what they are, but they don't do the metrics on that. But I think it'd be fun to add to it just to kind of see what it would be, you know.
What's a person's burst right out of the when they're released right off the line of scrimmage?
Right.
Is there some kind of metric you can measure that with or something?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You think Devontae Adams runs a 4.3
out of a 40-yard dash stance
in a
or
40-yard dash? You think he runs a 4.3?
I don't think so. No.
Hell no, he don't run a 4.3. He probably ran like a 4.6.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's got hella great feet and knows how to get a good release on the line of scrimmage, which Darnell Mooney has learned how to do.
Right.
Working with Allen Robinson.
I'd be curious to know that's a good example. What would Devontae Adams' 40-yard dash be out of a wide receiver stance as opposed to out of that crazy fucked up 40-yard dash stance that they put him in now, where you have to have everything so perfect. Your arm behind you, you're like shaking to hold that position, and then you have to like that burst off the line if it's a fraction of a second too late, you can be in a different category.
A 40-yard dash really is it. I mean, you can get some metrics from it, but it doesn't mean a whole lot, man.
Exactly.
It doesn't. Man.
But I like to think of it as football speed.
You know what football speed? What does football speed mean?
It means when you're running for your freaking life, you're going to be running a lot faster than you might think. You don't want to get your ass buried into the ground, and you want to get a concussion or blow out a knee, right? Running through your life speed is a hell of a lot different than a 40-yard dash.
You know what? I have an absolute different point of view because I've been on the. I remember I ran in. I'll tell you the truth, man, and I ran no more than a 4.4, or I think 4 or 5. No, never got faster than that. I ran a bad 40 one time at a recruiting visit, and it was like 4.6 something. We had hung out and we was out there that night, and I shouldn't have. And they came in the next day and they wanted people to run 40s. We shouldn't have been doing that. Just so everybody out there knows that you're not supposed to do that on a recruiting visit. But yeah, and I was just like, Coach, when you see the tape, have you seen anybody run past me? No, I said, really, Coach? Have you ever seen anybody on tape run past me? He was like, you know what? No, I haven't, because I got football speed.
Mm-hmm.
I match speed with anybody in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you put in. He's not running past me.
Mm-hmm.
That's football speed to me. You know
who a perfect example of that? Can you think of one on the Bears?
Football speed.
Mm-hmm.
That has football speed.
Mm-hmm.
Kendall Vildor.
I was going to say David Montgomery.
He's been working on his speed hella hard. I've seen stuff he's been doing. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe it's because of the position I played. I go right to a defensive back.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah,
Kendall Vildor does have some football speed. I can give you that. But my brain goes to Montgomery, who was like in the 4.5s in the combine, and then it seems like he's in the It seems like he went from like a 4.55 to a 4.5. I know that's not saying much, but somehow he was able to gain speed, and I didn't think he could do that.
Yeah, I listen, man. You could depending on who you're training with,
Mm-hmm.
you can do a lot of resistance training
Mm-hmm.
and help your speed, core muscle stuff. You can improve on your explosion, and the key is to be able to maintain acceleration. So say for instance, when you get the ball, let's say you get up to your top speed in 10 or 15 yards. Once you get past that 10 or 15 yards, can you maintain it down the field?
Or do you get faster?
Or you get faster?
See,
Right.
I've presented this to one of my friends, and he thought I was just being an idiot when I said, is it possible that you're faster? Like, so if you get out of that stance, let's just say you have let's just say your stance and your speed out of your stance is always the same, right?
Right.
Can you gain more speed past the 50-yard line or the 40-yard line? So if when you're timing that and you hit the 40-yard line, are you at your peak?
Right.
Could you get faster? What if we made it a 60-yard dash?
Right.
You might be able to tell what like the difference in certain types of speed are. This is just where my meatball brain goes. I'm sorry.
You messing around in sprint coach territory.
Yeah.
You talking about? I know a few some real hardcore sprint coaches, man. I've been around in my life, especially in high school. I've seen a few in college. You know, I wasn't focused on the track team, but I went over there and messed around with them. But man, these dudes are hardcore, and they can get, if you have the ability muscle wise, and you can really focus on it, you can get faster and more, and you can add acceleration to your technique if you put in the work.
I always kind of thought that. Yes.
You good. Yeah, but you have to build the muscle to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm. And I think you're seeing it on the field with Montgomery because he has gotten faster. I mean, he's broke off some runs, some long yardage runs that I kind of never thought he would do when we drafted him.
Yeah. The first thing came to your mind was that Rams game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Actually, no, the first one was, I think, maybe it was a Rams game. Or I think
I bet it's that Rams game.
Yeah. Where he just hit up the middle and was gone all the way down the field for a touchdown.
Like, that was a zone scheme run too.
Mm-hmm.
They talking all that shit about David Montgomery not being a fit in the zone. Man, stop it. That dude can play in any offense.
He is. He's transcendent. I remember scouting him, and I saw him do the little Walter Payton sidestep. I was like, that's the guy I want. And then drafted him. I was like, I can't believe they finally drafted someone that I wanted them to draft.
Can I do a little rant on that right quick?
Please.
Listen, all these David Montgomery doubters, and I understand, you know, some people don't see football the way I see football, and I after a while, after some years, I understand that and accept that. Everybody doesn't look at the details and don't understand. But let me tell you something about David Montgomery. He's got the whole package. When I was a David Montgomery doubter when we got him, because of, you know, he used to, you know, he'd get the ball and he was looking to duck and dodge everything, and he wasn't really accelerating through a hole after one cut.
Right.
So something happened in his second year. I think it was who was number 84? He was a receiver, but we ended up playing him.
Cordell Patterson, yeah.
Patterson, and he got hurt one game, and then Cordell Patterson got in there, and you know, next thing you know, he's getting that ball going up north. He's going north-south, getting 3 and 4 yards a pop.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell, David, I looked at him on the sidelines, and I'm looking at his body language, and he's just like, I got to get back out there. This dude going to take my job. And he was different from that point on, and I've never been a David Montgomery doubter since that. But let me tell you something, what makes David Montgomery different, other than his he just never says, you talking about Walter Payton. This dude he just never dies, man.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta bury him. But his ability to be able to pick up and pass pro he will stamp the shit out of you.
Man, the way that he likes to deliver blows reminds me of Peyton.
Yes.
I mean, he likes to play offense before, he's on the offensive, I should say. He's not trying to defend himself. He's on the offensive. He's trying to hurt you.
He will stamp the living shit out of you.
That Seahawks game where he barreled. I don't remember who the defender was. He just barreled him onto his ass.
Telling you, you want to know how you can look at. There's so many different running backs that are bouncing around different teams that are out there in free agency that are hit and miss on anybody, any team. Right. I can tell you, most of the time, why they won't have a good career because they don't commit to that. What I just told you about David Montgomery. If you're not going to block and protect in the passing game, sit your ass down. I don't care how fast you're 40. You can be running a 4.0. Sit your ass down. You ain't coming. You will not see this field unless you commit to this blocking game. David Montgomery is that dude.
Absolutely. He's poised for such a big year. I can't wait. I mean, all the time he could have been a lot bigger star than he is now. I mean, we all in Chicago think he's a star, but the rest of the NFL world doesn't really know about him. But if he was just used correctly, when he busts off a 40-yard run or a 35-yard run or a 20-yard run, and then Nagy takes him out for 6 plays, it's like he never got to, he's a rhythm running back. And you get him in that rhythm, he's just going to start pounding the ball down their throats. And it's going to be exciting to watch in this system that we have.
He'll wear your ass out if you let him.
Absolutely, man. I 100% agree with that. So how many points have you made? You got the buy-in, the energy?
We're talking about. I think we kind of hit it on the athletes. What do you got on your list?
We did kind of hit it on the athletes. You wanted to talk about. Well, you want and the athletes. Oh no, you wanted to talk about UDFAs.
Okay. Did you do anything? As far you didn't have time to do any kind of research on any of these guys, did you?
No. I mean, other than what I know already. There's one guy you talked about. I didn't, but I know the other one.
Let me talk about this one.
Okay.
How about John DeLance out of Florida?
I do know about him.
How about maybe the willingness to get up off of Tevin Jenkins a little bit? Maybe that has something to do with it a little bit. Maybe, I don't know.
Could be.
I want to get into Tevin Jenkins later because I think there's layers to that. But John DeLance, man, or Gene DeLance, however you want to call that one. Let me tell you something. First thing that jumps off to you on tape is he's a really good fluid athlete. Mm-hmm. Second thing that jumps off, he's big. Second thing jumps off to you is his arm length. He pulls like arms, and I understand why. He has great arm length.
What's his arm length? Do you know?
I'm not for sure, but I can tell you right now, he can tie his shoes standing up. I stole that one from Greg Gabriel, but yeah, that's the truth.
I'll look it up while you're talking.
Yeah, he's intriguing, man. If I had anything negative to say about him, which I don't have a lot of, he got whooped on the inside a little bit. He got, a couple of guys got inside of him and he gave up a couple of plays, but I know for a fact he knows that's a weakness and he's working on it. So Gene DeLance, man, I don't know anything about his personality, what kind of guy he is, and this is the kind of stuff that I talk to different people about and try to get a little insight about. I haven't got anything on him other than he's a good dude.
Did they interview him after the draft? Because I know everyone that they interviewed from the previous draft, they were all like holy shit type characters, like stand-up characters that everyone was talking about, including myself. Like everyone that they drafted is just so well spoken and smart and studious and loves the game. And I'm not sure I can't remember if they interviewed him or not, but I do remember thinking that about every single draft or every single prospect that they got.
I can't find his arm length.
He's long. I tell you, yeah, he's in long ass arms, man.
He's 6'4", 303 pounds.
And knows how to use it.
That's a tackle, right? Could that be tackle? Or is that too light?
No, you can play offensive tackle especially on the right side at that height and weight.
Yeah.
If you can move, if you're moving, one thing will step. If you look at his film, thing that'll stand out to you is first thing you'll notice is his arms. Second thing you'll notice is how quickly he climbs to the second level and gets on that second block.
Mm-hmm.
He starts with his initial block, then he's up there and he's on that second block, and there's a hole. And he's very athletic, and I'm not saying that's the reason why they're starting to. I don't know what's going on with Tevin Jenkins. I got my ideas of what that is, but he's not a bad guy to fall back on. I'll tell you that.
Well, your point is to this just the undrafted free agents, like people that we can look forward to possibly in the future. You had another one too.
John Alexander.
Yeah. And
I
John,
thought. Go ahead.
Go ahead. What's the position?
He's a safety.
And you were saying that they signed him to like a longer contract than they normally would do for a UDFA.
Yeah, he got a 3-year contract right out of the gate. And I don't know if that's normal, to be honest with you. I'm not sure, but I thought it was a little abnormal. I thought maybe they saw something in him and maybe they wanted to shore him up before he got a chance to get out there and get, different looks from different teams. I thought they wanted to got him in the building and wanted to keep him. That's what I took from that.
Holy shit, he's 6'2", 250 pounds.
You looking at the stats and
no, that's the wrong guy. That's a defensive end. Sorry.
You looking at his measurements?
Yeah, I'm trying to find here he is on the Bears. 6'2", 217. Wow, he's got some good size.
And he can move.
Mm-hmm.
He can freaking move. And how many times have you heard Flus sit up there at that press conference talking about moving? I like his movements.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's little hints about things that make you understand why certain things are happening.
Yep.
You just got to know the keys.
You can read between the lines.
Right.
When Flus is doing his pressers, talking about certain players.
Right. That's one guy. I'll tell you another guy.
Well, the guy from Wisconsin everyone's talking about.
Man, you know what, man? I don't want to piss nobody off because Jack Sanborn has built up a fan base and people want to see him win. What is it? Because he's white, man? What is it? I don't understand, man.
Well, maybe because he was scrappy in college. I don't know. I mean, maybe because it's just a Sam spot, and they're like, well, he could fill it best. I don't know.
Is it a Midwest thing because he's from Wisconsin? I can't figure that shit out. I can't figure it out. But
it could be because he's from Wisconsin. I think he's also from Illinois, if I remember correctly.
I don't know, man. There's something going on with him, man. Some people just rally for that guy. Maybe that's just this year's person everybody wants to rally around, but I don't know.
Let's see. That's exactly correct. He's from Lake Zurich, Illinois. That's what it is. Yeah.
Is that what you think that's what it is?
Yeah, for sure.
Probably, man. I don't know. But he's not.
We all root for our hometown, players.
I understand that. I understand that, but you got to be realistic, man. You don't want that guy covering Debo Samuel, do you?
No, not at all.
Keep him on special teams.
Yeah.
Best thing I could tell you.
So you were leading into your formula, your undrafted free agents, and so basically buy-in plus energy plus athletes equals the formula, right? Which is
okay. Let me. You got the buy-in part. When you walk in the building, you want to separate what you can work with from what you think you can. So you filter all of those guys out of there, right? You start there. Mm-hmm. This is after you can't come into the building and figured out who you have left over. You've drafted and you've done all that kind of stuff. What do we have left? How many guys can I get to buy in, right?
Right.
Once you feel like you got across the board in every position room, in every phase of the game. You got guys that have bought into what you are preaching.
Mm-hmm.
That's half the game, Shorty.
Mm-hmm.
That is half the game.
Mm-hmm.
You get nowhere if you got, you know, malcontent sitting on the sideline whispering and talking shit like this is, you know, this shit ain't. I've seen this stuff. I've seen this stuff, and they will absolutely put cancer on your team.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that don't want to adhere to the things that's going on around them, they feel like they've made enough money or they're at a different status in their career that, you know, different kind of things like that. Stuff I hear from my friends and guys that I'm close to.
Mm-hmm.
They tell me this stuff. And so they were right to go right in there right away and say, you know what, let's find out who we can count on in this locker room and who is best to just move on from.
Who is willing to go all out 110% on every play? Flus talked about it. Yeah. Flus talked about Alan Williams talked about it in his last presser. Something that Flus said. I'm trying to remember it. It was something about just like not verbatim, but just all in or nothing. Like if you don't give all, you're not going to succeed. Like I wish I could remember what he said because it was so beautiful, but it was so perfectly said that basically the point was you need to be 1,000% all in this, or you will not succeed in life. Like these are the kinds of things that you do to succeed in life that you need to do to succeed in football. And
basically, he said, if you ain't gonna give me 100%, keep that shit.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone ball in, go 100%, give all of your effort at every single play, and try to get that damn ball out at every turn. And everything else will work itself out. It really will.
Yeah. Let's roll. Let's turn right back to that formula you were talking about. I strayed off because I think that buy-in is more important than people understand right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the formula, that running back room is thick as hell.
Mm-hmm.
That they have some absolute home run hitters in that running back room.
Absolutely.
They're developing an offensive line that if you don't understand offensive line play, when all else fails, the default for an offensive lineman, I can put my hands in the dirt and I can run your ass over. Mm-hmm. That's what they prefer to be doing. Mm-hmm. You know, pass protection is hard. You're trying to stop a big 300-pound person from getting in there and sacking your quarterback. It ain't easy. What's easy is getting my hands in the dirt, getting in front of you and making an example out of you. Mm-hmm. Especially when I'm well conditioned and you ain't.
Exactly.
You know, that is the beginning. That's the what do you want to call it? That's the spark right there.
That's your foundation.
Right.
So you're not doing that 100% in every single practice. You're not going to do it in the games. You know, if you have to kind of like we were talking about conditioning your body with all the, you know, like you talked about yoga and even dance and stuff, you know, conditioning your body for the muscle memory, you know, if you are going 110% on every play in practice, it's only going to build your muscle memory to do it in the games. You're going to start to see the turnovers again. You're going to start to see the defense flying to the ball. You're like, holy shit, there's like 7 guys in on that tackle. Like, what the hell? You know, that's the kind of stuff we saw in the Lovie Smith era that we were missing. We've been missing that. And we kind of saw it a little bit in the Vic Fangio era until he left, and then it just wasn't the same. And now here, I think that in my opinion, we're starting over with a solid base. I mean, when you start, I know people make fun of acronyms, but when you have that philosophy and you're using that every single day, it's like it's no different than getting up in the morning, taking a shit, making your coffee, making yourself some breakfast, you know, feeding your dog, getting in your car, pulling out of the garage and going to work, right?
Second nature stuff.
Exactly. You're just doing it. You're almost it's almost, you don't even think about it anymore. So that's what he's instilling into this team. both offensively and defensively. And side note, I am so excited about Luke Getsy that I'm just. It's kind of like my dogs are 11 years old, and I love them with every last bit of my heart, and I know they're not going to be around in 5-6 years. You know,
Man,
it makes me want to cry.
don't get me going, Shorty.
That's right. I could start crying
Don't
right
do
now
that to me.
thinking about it. But that's how I feel about Matt Getsy. It's like, okay, well, let's enjoy our time with him while we can, and just make the best of it. And let's cherish every moment we have with him because he's going to be a freaking head coach someday. He's going to be gone.
And before I get going, I'm gonna tell Nick to stay around, please, because he's the one in the chat, and I want to show him some respect, and I want to talk to him a little bit when we get through going through a few of these points. I appreciate him being there.
He just said discipline, so he's still here.
I appreciate that guy, man. But on to that formula thing, if you establish yourself on the ground and you could be formidable on that ground with a quarterback at the caliber of Justin Fields, who is absolutely an incredible athlete by him, just that alone. But that's not the only dynamic to him. He is absolutely accurate throwing that ball down the field. He's a dimer. And he's got that competitive edge to him that not everybody has.
Mm-hmm.
You got that going for you. You got hell of running backs coming out of there after you. That I think they need to keep 4. If to be honest, I think they need to keep 4. If they're going to run the ball the way I think they need to run it, they need to keep 4 backs. But you got that going for you. Then you go out there and you play some hellacious defense. I mean, hellacious. I mean, that energy that he's instilling in those guys and the way those guys are going to play. And I'm talking about these dudes are going to be abnormally physical with different teams. And it goes to what I've said for years. I think we got away from, as a team, what Chicago is. Chicago is a blue-collar town. People get up and they go to work. For Pepsi, they deliver their beer. This is a blue-collar town. It's very corporate as well, but it's absolutely a blue-collar town. And we like our physical football. Rough, tough. And when you got Chicago on your schedule and you're an offensive player on another team, hey, man, we can't go out to the boom boom room tonight. We got Chicago, man. We ain't going to the boom boom room tonight.
It's what we're known for. I mean, it's the only thing we can hang our hat on.
That's right. That's what we are, man. And we got away from that for a little bit with Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy, the Bears went with the toast of the day, which was these offensive coordinators that was running these exotic schemes on offense. That's not who we are, man.
Right.
Chicago is a rough, tough, physical. We love our physical football teams. We love it. We don't mind. It's a 3 yards in a cloud of dust and a nosebleed. We don't care. As long as we get the W, and long as you was hurt at the end of the game, we don't care. When you see Chicago on your schedule, expect some physicality.
Absolutely, man.
And we finally got back to that with these guys. Now, that formula turns into defense and taking that ball away and giving it back to the quarterback in the offense and getting them another bite at the apple.
And this
kind of leads into your next subject after formula, which was Justin Fields, because Justin Fields being a part of that style of offense is going to add a different element to it that I don't think you've seen yet. I mean, you can use Colin Kaepernick, you can use some.
Hey, who's that there talking about? We need what is that? Roquan?
Bears need Smith to have an elite defense.
He's absolutely right.
Yes.
Could you imagine if the Ravens had traded Ray Lewis? Would they have won those championships?
No,
this guy will be there when we get the next ring.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is coming along with Roquan happens to be with just he has no agent, so there's a different dynamic to the signing, to the contract. So
I mean, we all know he's going to get it. He's going to get his contract. I mean, I guess we should say we all hope. I mean, it's looking like he will, right? I would expect, but
You do know Roquan's a whole different conversation. You know
oh,
that.
I know. We weren't even going to talk about Roquan. Of course, Steve had to talk about
that dude. He transcends that position, man. We only get guys like him once every 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's different.
He is different.
They better sign the guys.
I know there's been some fun talk about trading him, but in reality, no. He's the key to this defense being successful. Sign the guy, just figure it out.
They damn well better. If they want to get to where we plan on going, they better have him locked in.
So let's talk.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You finish.
No, go ahead. You driving, man.
I was just saying, back to Justin Fields, like, oh, okay. Now Steve has to add this. See, I was saying, he's saying 5 years, $100 million, and guaranteed $58 million. That's his going rate.
Damn.
You're trying to steer us all off channel here, Steve.
Oh, he's right though, man.
Steve,
if that's a low bar, really, because the other guys.
Yeah.
Well, let me a little bit of insight that I get on situations like this is it's trending towards, and I'm talking about the way of the market. It's trending towards everybody's looking for, especially a football player, because there's not very many it's no guaranteed contracts, except for what Deshaun Watson just got.
Mm-hmm.
And now they want their money front ended. They want that front loaded to them. So in guaranteed contracts, let's say that they gave him a 3-year contract worth $70 million and let's say $60 million up front, guaranteed. That's the way they want their money now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they want the front end money, not the back end on a long contract.
And they should, because they're not going to get it in the back end. That's when they're
right.
That's when they end up getting traded or cut, or
Right.
I don't blame them.
Exactly. That's what I've been going for.
Exactly. They're just navigating the NFL world the same way as the business world is navigating it. Just you got to look out for yourself.
Exactly. I mean, this is a game, and when I was talking, I said on I think it was an Irish Bears show. I told them that I was going to peel back the layers of what it means to be a football player and to play this game. And even though I didn't make it to the NFL, I have a good insight on what it takes to actually play this game on a regular basis and have a career.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you now, this is a not guaranteed. Anything can happen the next time you go out there and start stretching. Mm-hmm. Anything can happen to you just because you put your body through so much rigor. You know, it's physically demanding to the point to where, hey, you better be on top of your shit.
Can we talk about Tariq Cohen in that regard?
Oh my God, man, how sad is that?
The poor kid takes 2 years from a knee injury that wasn't disclosed as bad as it was, and then he's finally ready. And I was rooting for him. I was so happy, and then he fucking blows his Achilles live on the internet. God. Like, you could hear the damn thing pop.
That had to be the saddest thing I've seen in a long ass time.
If you look at his story and you look at his Meet the Rookies when he was a rookie, and then you look at the story that he wrote for the whatever that was, the NFL Herald or whatever, that about his life and his family and all that, and then he's coming back and it's like boom. He can't. Now he's gone for another year. I mean, that's the worst injury. He had the 2 worst injuries, and that every football player is terrified of, back to back. And not to get off subject, but that was devastating to me. And like to what you were saying is, when you're out there training to play football on that level, anything can happen to you any damn moment, man.
Dude, it's when you start talking about stuff like that, it goes back to the things that you have to do before you even get into a training camp. Before you even get into a training camp, the things you have to do physically to prepare yourself for it. If you can get through that without a major injury, you're a bad motherfucker. Excuse my language. But you're bad. And then you get there, and now you're competing with. It's not like college where you're the elite player at your position, and nobody on the team is anywhere close to you. No, these are the elite players from every college.
Mm-hmm.
You out there with people that actually can take your shit.
Yeah, and they're doing it for a living. They're trying to feed their families,
just like you.
Yeah,
just like you.
Yep.
It's a job.
Yep.
But the minute you start, and I had a teammate that used to every day we come out and practice in college. We come down that ramp and get ready to go start working out and doing stuff. Hey, he'd be out there. Hey, if you ain't having fun, you ain't had no business out here. Every day. He's a country boy from Georgia. You ain't having no fun, you ain't got no business out here. And I'm just like, hey, yo, man, with this bullshit. He said, man, this is not only fun, it's your job. He was a linebacker, he was a leader of the team, very vocal. And some of that stuff, I understand what he was saying. It is absolutely so demanding that your average Adam Hogue type of person or your Hub Arcus, you think Hub Arcus has ever lined up and tackled somebody? He doesn't know any of this stuff. He has no idea. They talk in such generalities, man.
And then they get so engineered into the society over the course of so many years that their word is nothing but gold, right? After 30 plus years in Chicagoland of someone like Hub or, any one of those guys that's been around, like Larry Mayer for the Bears. Like, do I really care what Larry Mayer has to say? Bears?
Come on, man.
And he takes the questions. Hey, what number was Walter Payton and when did he retire? Good question. Walter Payton wore number 34 and he retired in 1987 with 17,626 yards rushing.
Man.
It's like, thank you, Hub. I could have looked that up myself. Or not Hub, but not Hub, but Larry. Thank you, Larry. I could have looked that up myself. I asked you a question I didn't know.
Shorty, you played the game. I don't know, and I don't want to date myself.
I didn't play the game at a high level, but I played the game enough. I played as many Sandlot games as I have than probably as many professionals have. I know that.
Have you? I don't want to date myself, but I played in the era where I'm going to take a leak right quick, man. So I'm bringing the phone with me.
You lucky bastard.
Hey, put me on mute for like a few seconds.
I'm gonna put you on mute while you take a leak. I'll just start talking. So Nomad's taking a leak now, which is good stuff. And we're gonna just mute it so we don't hear his pee stream. He's a lucky guy because I have to pee right now too. So, but I'm not going to because I'm running the podcast. But I like the points that Nomad is trying to make here with he played college ball. He's got some information on this so we can all kind of listen to. He's a pretty good conversation. I hope he's done now because I don't want to hear his pee stream. Are you done now?
We're good.
Okay. So you were leading. You were leading. Go ahead.
No, you. I wanted to ask you. Without dating myself, we played in tour days. I hear that you can't do that anymore.
No, you can't do that
in high school.
Oh no! In fact, my first podcast was with Brian Reberg, and it's Brian Reberg was a friend of mine that we grew up in Illinois, Northern Illinois. He moved down to like Savannah area, and and he sorry, I was reading some chat, and I hooked up with him again, and
if he's gonna take a leak. Go ahead. I'll just talk to the people in the chat. Just take a break.
Oh, well, okay. If I get to that point, I will.
All right.
Can you read their comments?
I can see some. I see Nick all over and Steve.
Nick says it's dope to finally get a voice behind you. Yeah,
I'm glad to put it out there.
And Nick is a little bit younger. He said they stopped 2 days when he was in high school. Yeah, and that's what I was getting to the point at is that
Brian was saying that they stopped doing that down here, and now they're having football all year long. And then I heard from my cousin that in Illinois that they're having football all year long in high school now too. So you take your high school your summer break, but you still do report for football in high school throughout the season at different points in Illinois, unlike they used to do when we were in high school, because we actually had the 2 days. We had do you remember Hell Week?
What did that look like? What did that look like for you?
Oh, well, Hell Week was exactly what I described it as. It's like when the pads went on and you just went to work, and then they would jog us in our cleats down like a mile and a half long road in our cleats, and then we would have to like hang a right and then jog like another mile and a half to this hill. It was called Hart's Hill, and then they would line us up into groups, and we'd have to sprint up and down the hill in groups. Running backs, backs, linemen, defensive linemen, all that shit, and we were all racing to go up and down the hill. Oh man! And then we'd have to after all that.
You might have a lawsuit. That shit sounds like a fraternity haze.
Well, I will date myself because I everyone knows I've already said I'm 47, so this was like 91, and I mean, whew, that was the best shape I was in my freaking life. And back to the point of the Bears, that's what they're doing with this team.
Was that not the goal?
Yes. Look, this is my buddy who knows me back from the day. I swear I ran a 4.40, but nobody ever timed it.
We talking about Steve?
No, we're talking about me.
Oh no, you said your buddy.
My buddy Steve here. He says Shortino was fast back in the day.
What's happening, Steve?
Shortino was me, and I always swore that I was a 4.4, but I guarantee I was like a 4.55 or something.
Hey, we go ahead.
I was gonna say I was one of the, when we did the sprints, the full out sprints, I was right there with our running back and our quarterback. We ran a wishbone, so our quarterback had to be athletic, and I was right there with the two of them. It was kind of like back and forth. One day one might win, the other day another one might win. At least that's how I remember it. I'm probably wrong.
Steve's tripping on you, man. He's calling you a 4.6.
He's calling me a 4.6. Well, this is like my best friend. So on the phone, he's like, "Man, you're probably a 4.6." I was like, "Man, that was a 4.45."
Hey, man, but you know something? I've been pushed to the. I mean, I don't know if you understand what I'm about to describe to you, but when the lights are blinking, in your internal lights are blinking, and you ain't got nothing left.
Right.
I've been pushed further when I felt like I could just pass out at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten it out of me. I'm not saying that that's an optimal thing to do, because it ain't. These days, it's just not smart. But water used to be kind of freaking frowned on a little bit. Like, were you thirsty?
I know.
You can't.
What, you need water, you pussy?
The hell's wrong with you, man? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know, but that's the most important key to, like, not pulling a hamstring and.
Yeah, man.
Man,
but
I want to thank you for coming on. You're a lot of fun to talk to.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate coming on here. It's just having a. I feel like I'm around a guy that I've been knowing all my life.
Me too.
And it feels like we've been around each other forever, and we're catching up.
Absolutely, man.
That's what it feels like to me.
That's our bond from where we came from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure, man. You lose it when you're in a different area for a while and you're not around your people.
Right. And go ahead.
Sigmund wants to know: did you play Division 1 or 2?
Oh, Division 1.
Ooh.
Division 1. No, I was no joke. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I don't brag, but yeah, I was a bad dude. I was
My,
a
my,
bad dude.
my buddy is going to try to find out who you are, but he's not going to. He won't expose you. He's my buddy.
Why, man?
Because
Why, man?
he's a college football junkie. That's why.
Listen, man. I listen. I'll put it to you like this.
He probably
I
knows you by
can't.
your voice. Just from hearing you in a press conference in college at some point.
No, I was a very good football player and didn't really know how good I was, and went to college and started to scrape the surface layer back and kind of start discovering. At the same time, the politics of college started to happen, and I didn't understand. I went to a school. Let's just put it to you this way: I went to a bunch of camps when I was in high school, my sophomore, junior, senior year, and in Oklahoma. I would have went to Oklahoma as a freshman, but those coaches got ran out of Oklahoma from allegations of what happens in college world. Before all this stuff happened with the NIL and all that. It's money being freaking exchanged.
Mm-hmm.
So they got run out of. That's where I would have been. They got run out of there onto another school, and I was already comfortable with those guys. So pretty much wherever they went, I was gonna go because I was comfortable with those coaches. And so they went to a school. I went there, and not only did I go there, a whole bunch of bullshit that came with what they did at Oklahoma came with them. So the magnifying glass was on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so some things happened while I was there. And so I didn't understand all of that kind of stuff. I was 17 years old, going into 18 years old. I didn't know. There's no manual that comes with that shit.
Right.
You don't know. I'm from the hood, man.
Dude, me and my friends at 17 years old were like, we were 10% of the brain that we are now. Like I can't imagine trying to be an elite athlete at that time and knowing you had the chance, you know what I mean? Like, and to put everything that had to go into that, to put all the shit behind you that's in life to try to succeed in that.
Look at how quick these people just jump on these kids like dude, they're kids.
They're kids, I know.
Like, dude, they don't know.
I mean, Tevin Jenkins is a perfect example. Like, come on, like I one of the things I kind of was talking about is like, well, maybe I'm not speculating. I don't know. There's no information on this, but just my brain went, well, maybe he drinks too much. Maybe maybe he doesn't drink too much, but maybe he's going out partying with his buddies and he's coming in late the next
Where's
day.
Tevin Jenkins from?
Oklahoma State.
No. Where's he born and raised? I think he's from Kansas or Oklahoma, one of the two.
Oh, I think he is from Kansas.
Because I know those people in that part of the country. From going out there 3 years, going to summer camp and all that kind of stuff. I know how they move out there. And I said this in a few chats. Listen, those people in that part of the country.
Topeka, Kansas.
Yes. Those people in that part of the country, you know what they do all day?
Yeah, they drink beer.
They barbecue, smoke food. You hear them in this press conference. If you listen to them, they smoke meats and they drink cheap ass beer all damn day.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Do. Like, maybe it's something just so simple as that. Like, hey, man, we gotta get this country out of you. You're in the big city now, and this is a business, and it's your livelihood. You have to just come on, man. Stop drinking the beer. Like maybe. And I'm just speculating. There's no data on this. I'm just saying, like, maybe they have them in some kind of AA meeting to help them out.
You see Nick in there.
Natty Ice.
Hey, 24 of those bad boys. Well, I bet you.
Yeah, good. You'll be having a hard time going to work the next day. Yeah. That's for sure. And a big boy like that has to put a couple more down than the normal guy, right?
Man, those guys out there are they are hardcore beer drinkers, man. They'll put away a case like it ain't shit.
Yeah.
The big old boy like that, come on, man. You know he'll knock off a case like it ain't nothing.
And I'm not saying that that's what's going on. I'm just wondering because there's just so many avenues you can go down. It's hard for me to speculate that they would not be in love with talent. So either they were just approached for a trade and it came out that way and it made it look like they were trying to trade him, or it was just that they were never trying to trade him, and like I said, they were approached, and that's how the speculation came out.
Let me. This is what I was talking about with peeling back the layers of.
I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna take you up on that. You can go off on your rant. I have to pee.
Go ahead. I'll go from here.
You got it, man.
You got the mic.
All right, got it. Part of when we start talking about Tevin Jenkins, I think people need to look at his background a little bit more than, looking at the surface of it. And what I just said before about people are different in different places. You can run into a coach that rubs you the wrong way. And that could trigger some things, in a position room. If anybody, you have that in college, you got your different position groups, and you're in a room with a bunch of guys and a coach. Depending on that coach, depending on what kind of personality he has, that determines how you react to him, kind of, when you're at that age. And that guy, depending on what kind of guy he is, he could be kind of abrasive. He could be kind of sarcastic. He could be kind of standoffish. And in that room, he's confronting you about what you're doing wrong on the tape and what you did wrong in practice. And he's getting on you, and he's probably being funny. And the rest of the guys are in the corner laughing at you, and that's pissing you off. Next thing you know, you kind of standoffish with your coach. Before that, after that, the coach realizes you kind of standoffish with him, and he presses it in the position room, and he gets on you a little bit more. You get it a little bit madder. He gets in your face. Next thing you know, you got a situation that I've been in before, where I've had to separate guys and coaches from guys, and that happens, and if it got way wrong, they actually locked horns and got into a fight, and then that's a problem. But if that didn't happen, if that coach is worth his salt in that position room, he needs to be a problem solver and get to the bottom of it and find out what makes Tevin Jenkins tick, and know what not to do with him.
I walked back in on the perfect point of this.
What did you hear?
Only enough that I needed to, that they need to just invest in the kid. If there's a problem with the position coach and him, they need to keep just investing in the kid, man. The kid's talent is way too much to let go. You can't walk away from this talent.
Absolutely. You don't just throw him away because we call them persnickety in college. We got guys with personalities, persnickety. You don't just, oh, okay, I can't work with this guy. What are you, an actor or something? What the fuck is this, Hollywood? Look, right. This dude's a football player, and you may need to reach him in a different way.
Right.
If he's worth it, if he's what you say he is, if every report about him is right, it's worth it. Maybe the coach is not doing this the right way. Maybe Ryan Poles needs to get both of them in the office and just solve this.
Well, it's kind of like makes me wonder, like I asked Jordan this question, like, is it possible that maybe Soup Campbell had, like, he wasn't handling the situation correctly with him to put him on the right path, and that's why he lost his job too? I mean, there's so many layers to this. We don't know, but it's just interesting to think about.
Well, I got my idea of what Soup's job was. What is your idea of what he did?
He brings the players in. He converses with them, gets to know them on a personal level, helps them find a place to live, teaches them about life in the NFL, how to manage their money, teach them about how to like manage their social accounts. Just be aware of that you are a you're a figure now you're a top figure. You're someone that's being looked at by your surrounded community in a high level, that you need to maintain a standard of this and that. And am I wrong?
So player engagement.
Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, I don't know how much. I don't really. All I know is a scout that's in the Atlanta area, and he didn't scout Tevin Jenkins, and this guy, from everything that was told to me about Tevin, he is not very high motor unless you push him.
Mm-hmm.
And the Soup, I don't know, man. I really don't know, man. I don't know what his role is in that, but I know after he left, a part of the connection that made the Nagy and Pace era happen left with him. Did that leave some players that were connected to the organization through him feeling like they wasn't wanted?
Mm.
You know, is that a possibility?
That's a
so
great.
Yeah. What I was saying when you were in the bathroom was, you know, different players in these position rooms, that kind of stuff, dust ups like that happen, man. You're gonna have a issue with your position coach at times. He's gonna get on your ass, and he's gonna be on you in front of all your peers, and they're gonna be laughing at you, and you're not gonna like it. And what happens after that determines whether or not some of these teams want to keep you. Mm-hmm. You know, it could have got real up in there. We don't know. I've seen it happen. I split up some guys up in there, and I'm just a little guy, but it's happened.
I believe it. I mean, I like what do you think about what Steve's saying here?
What's he saying?
Replace Morgan, coach up Jenkins with a new guy.
I don't know about that, man. We want to believe that everybody they brought in here were, as they say, good teachers, great teachers, and they got everybody's best interest in mind. We don't know anything that's going on in that classroom, man. If you've never been in a classroom, it's very critical. Mm-hmm. They want to point out every little thing, mm-hmm. and that's not wrong. Right. However, it could get to a point to where you're feeling like you're being singled out if you got the kind of personality to take it that way.
Right.
It depends on what kind of guy you are. You might take it out a little more personal than the next guy over next to you. You know.
Right.
That's that kind of thing. You know, that kind of stuff, man. If you've never been a part of a setting like that, you really don't know how that's playing out.
Right.
You don't. You think you know, but you don't.
This is why it's great to talk to you, because I had no idea the kind of insight that you'd have talking about this before you came on this podcast with me. And this is just awesome to have you on, because the perspective that you're bringing of it's really opening my eyes to all the things I just don't know. I took a class one day on something, and they said, what you don't know, you don't know. And if you think about that phrase, what you don't know, you don't know.
I'll add to that.
It's pretty powerful.
I'll add to that. It's been situations in my position group where actually, absolutely, a player and a coach locked horns. They locked horns right then and there in the classroom. We had to peel them apart. But on the inside, we knew what happened.
Right.
The player got suspended. And on the inside the building, we knew that happened. Outside the building, it looked like an injury. Mm-hmm. What does Tevin's look like? An injury, right?
Injury. Yep.
Something happened in there.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened in there, and we'll never know the whole truth about it. But something absolutely happened in there. It's about whether or not it was the situation should result in this player not being here or not. I think for something's telling me, man, that dude's gonna get back out on the field and get another chance. He's not gone yet, so that's why that's telling me that.
Thank you. I agree with you on that. I mean, I think that there's just a lot of smoke and mirrors here. I think that there is just teams inquiring because they're wondering why he's not on the field, because they have people that are being paid to watch every single team in the NFL, and the Bears is one of them. And they're reporting back to them that Jenkins is not playing and there's no disclosed information on it. So they're just coming back and going, well, we could sure use someone like that. Let's put out a trade inquiry to see what if they want to trade him, and then all of a sudden it becomes trade talk, right? So
you use your instincts, Shorty. What instincts before you even think about it? I'll give you 3 seconds. Where do you think that leak came from?
Where do I think the leak?
Now you're thinking too much.
Wait, hold on. Where do I think the leak of the trade came from?
Yeah,
him himself.
You think so? You think that came out of his camp?
No, I was just guessing. What do you think?
If that's what your instincts tell you, then that's what you believe. That came out of his camp. Maybe you think that he wants out of there, and he put that out there. However, I think it's motivational. I got my reasons to believe that they really, really want to see the best out of that dude. And I think how these young guys communicate now and what most affect them in the way they think in their day-to-day is through social media.
Mm-hmm.
And let's put this out here. Let's see if we can really turn the screws on this dude. See how he feels about this.
Mm-hmm.
We might trade your ass. Okay, let's see how he responds to it. And immediately, what did we get? Never heard a bleep out of Tevin Jenkins.
No. And another thing you said on Twitter was, "Don't worry, I'm all good," or something like that.
Right. And he kind of put it. There's smoke and there's fire. However, the level of it may not be what everybody assumes it is.
And Leo Factor is saying it came from polls and it was a goofy move.
If it came from polls, that was genius.
Mm-hmm.
That was genius because you have to understand what makes these young guys operate. I call them young guys because I'm not 24 anymore.
Right.
I'm not 23 anymore. I'm not going to front out here. I'm not.
They're kids.
But, yeah. And what moves their world, what moves the needle for them is social media. Am I not right?
No, you're absolutely correct. Yeah.
So what better way to affect somebody's psyche and a kid that you really want to see the best of other than social media? How else can you do that? That's how you move it. That's how you move the needle on a young guy like that. Mm-hmm. And you really want to see the best. Poles is an offensive lineman guy. He knows that dude has talent. He doesn't want to give him away. At this point, what would you get from him for him? He's often injured, has a back problem, and he has very limited snaps in the NFL. The hell you think you're gonna get for him in a trade?
And when you combine what they traded to get for him, you're not going to get that. You're going to get that back 3 times the half fold.
If you got a 6 or 7, that's like winning a lottery. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't give you shit for him, really. If everything in the reports are true.
Yeah,
he's got a back problem. He hasn't played. He's limited amount of snaps. Why would I even think about a trade with you?
A 6th round pick, right?
Right. I wouldn't even give you that for him. Wouldn't even give you that.
Leo says if you have to resort to trade rumors in the first week of training camp to motivate a young player, then you're inexperienced.
Or foxy as hell. One of the two.
Yeah, one of the two.
Shit. I don't see it as a dumb move. I think it's trying to figure out the best way you can. If this is all I got left in my bag, let's throw it out there. I want what I can get out of Tevin.
Do you think if polls actually did start the trade rumors, that wouldn't that
I mean, as a former player yourself, would that motivate you less or more to play for the team? Would you be motivated more to?
I'm pissed. I'm pissed, and I want to get back on the grass. I'm pissed. I'm pissed. What?
See,
I just got drafted in the second round. I should have been drafted in the first round. I barely got on the field, and I've been bounced in and out of the lineup. And now they got me running with the second team. Now I'm getting traded.
mhm.
I'm pissed. I'm pissed like hell.
But would
I
that
want to
make
knock
you?
the shit out of somebody.
Would that make you want to stay with that team?
I want to. That may not make me want to stay. I want to get on that grass though. I may change my feelings about whether I want to stay on this team or not. But right now, I want to get on this grass and show you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the outcome Pose is looking for. And I'm not saying that I'm right, y'all. I just want y'all to know in this chat that I don't feel like I'm 100% right. I'm just telling you from my instincts,
Right,
what I see. And if I were in that position of Pose, how I would go about that. And he's not that far off.
right. And none of this is all just ideas and just coming up with just different dialogue, different solutions to different things. None of it's we're just speculating and having fun with it.
Right.
So
where we at on that list, man?
I think did we actually get into Justin Fields, or we just touch on it?
I'll let you drive that conversation because I think you're passionate about this guy, man. And I am too, but you want to mess with that?
I can start with it. I mean, it might be a little to some viewers, it might be a little annoying to hear me talk about it again, but I mean, I've scouted quarterbacks my entire life. I've always looked for a quarterback for the Bears. Every single freaking draft, it's like looking for a quarterback. Oh, they didn't draft one. And then we finally have this Greek god of a quarterback, and we're right back to the media talking shit about him like he's going to be the worst quarterback in the league next year. And it just is so mind-bogglingly annoying to me that it's to be honest, it's a part of the reason why I started this podcast. I'm just sick of the mainstream media putting crap into people's ears that they're trying to. The media is making clickbait, right? By saying clickbait originated with the media asking good questions to get people to go, oh, whoa, why did he overthrow N'Keal Harry in his first week of practice on his new team, being one of the biggest receivers he's thrown to yet, on a pass that was just a little bit out of bounds in the corner of the end zone? Oh my God, let's not talk about the play that happened after that where he corrected it and hit him in the end zone, or the fact that he was like running a bit to his left and had the defense barreling down on him and threw the ball, just saw him there wide open and just lobbed it up in practice because we're still undefeated. I mean, I just don't understand the narrative why we have to keep like sicking the media on our quarterbacks like we're trying to make them fail.
They're reactionary, shorty.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. I'm sure you played Madden, right?
Oh God, yeah. By the way, wait, I have to tell you something here.
Go ahead.
See here on the. I'm about to really make fun of myself. So you might want to hang up with me after this. See my buddy here? Shorty loves Fields like a fat kid loves cake. Okay. That's my buddy Steve. And his son, who's 9 years old, beat me 68-0 on Madden.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
what were you playing with?
I used to play Madden.
I don't play it anymore either, but who are you playing with that day?
Well, that game he had the Chiefs and I had the Rams, I think.
He beat the dirt off your ass.
9 years old, 68-0, retired me. So to answer your question, yes, I used to play Madden.
I wouldn't tell nobody else that.
Hey man, I have no fun. I have no problem making fun of myself.
Don't tell nobody else.
I'm gonna make a clip of this. What are you talking about? I got beat 68 to
Oh
by,
my
and you're only mad
God.
at. My buddy,
Oh,
he's like, hey, you want to help me out with this mutt challenge?
oh my Lord.
And his son will be like, yeah, I'll do that mutt challenge for you, Daddy. And then he beats that mutt. Yeah, he beat the pants off of that ass. He kicked my fucking ass 68 to zip. And I was like, okay, I'm done playing Madden.
He beat you down to your last goddamn molecule.
And you know what? You know what the best part about it is, though, Nomad? He kept trying to give me the out. Hey, you want to give up? I'm like, no. You got to sit here and deal with kicking my ass.
You got to tap out, man. You got to know when to quit. Goddamn.
I know you're bored right now, little 9-year-old. But
Jeez.
you're gonna have to deal with it. You got to keep kicking my ass.
Yeah, these little dudes are different on this game now, man.
Kidding, man.
Shoo.
But you were asking me. Yes, I did. I one time ago. I played Madden.
Oh God. I'm just gonna act like I didn't even hear that shit. But Justin,
it's okay. It's okay. It's on my expense.
How these things come to these guys. Let's just take you back to when Justin he finds out that Nagy and Pace are gone, right?
Yeah.
Finds out that Eberflus is hired. Now he's like, okay, who is this dude and what is it with him?
He's like, can I please be in the press conference?
Huh?
Justin Fields was like, can I please be a part of the press conference?
I don't know about that. I think they pushed him out front for that. But
no, I do too. I was just joking.
But let's fast forward to when they hire Getsy. As soon as he finds out they hire Getsy, he goes right to, and I'm just peeling back what he probably was thinking and how that shit played out for him. Mm-hmm. He was looking at tape and he was just like, oh, okay. Because if you look at Justin in his game tape from last year, most of his most successful plays came from him under the center running zone scheme stuff. And he's listening to the press conference, and Getsy's hired, and he looks at the film, and Getsy's there, and they call him, and they tell him to come in, and hey man, listen, this is what we want to do. We want to utilize you for what we know you're good at, and we want to optimize what you're good at. Mm-hmm. Hands him the playbook. Mm-hmm. And they get that on an iPad, right? Mm-hmm. They give it to him on an iPad. So he's got all these, and that's why I was talking about the Madden stuff. And it's probably I've seen them. What I've seen on somebody's iPad, it looks a lot like Madden. It's just the plays that are drawn up on Madden. It looks a lot like that.
Really?
Yes. Huh. Yes. Different sets, different formations, and how you use different guys, what they're running, how all that kind of stuff looks a lot like Madden. As a matter of fact, they're using game apps to help coach these guys. Hmm. And so he's getting, yeah, it really does. Go ahead. I know you want to
No, you were saying he didn't what?
He I don't know what I just said that he's getting that. He's getting that information on an iPad and he's just looking at it. Right.
Similar to what he's used to in his like growing up playing video games kind of a thing.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not like you're getting we used to get that shit in binders.
Right.
You got to fold pages back and
they'd hand you an encyclopedia and be like, learn this in a month.
Man, dude, I hate it. Like right now, and I won't mention a certain person's name, but certain people like looking at film and breaking down that kind of shit. I'm so fucking tired of that. I'm tired of it because I became a film junkie. Mm-hmm. And I studied playbooks and studied them, and I'm burnt out on them, like burnt. Nowadays they got that kind of stuff streamlined.
Yep.
To an iPad, and you can just sit there and just swipe a page, and okay, this is what Vegas is supposed to do here. This is what EQ is supposed to do there. This is my read. This is my hot read. If that linebacker or that nickelback does this or that, then this is what I'm supposed to do. What I'm getting at is when you get to that point and you're looking at it on an iPad and you're actually bringing that into a classroom. What did you see here, Justin? Okay, that's not what you should do there. You should go here. Now you got to take that to the field.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to execute this stuff and you got to practice that stuff. And all this bullshit about, oh, the Bears look terrible. They look bad and their offense, it was terrible. I'm worried about dude, that's a brand new fucking offense.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't easy. You're dealing with brand new pieces that you have to throw to, that you have to audible and adjust to. How they run routes, what they do when the play breaks down and you're just rolling out running.
Mm-hmm.
What would they do?
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure all that shit out.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes time. And it's just symmetry and gelling, just like the offensive line will have to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wouldn't say unfortunately, but that's happening at the same time.
Mm-hmm. It's all happening in real time, and there just happens to be fans there watching it. If there was no fans there watching it, and they put the first product on the field on the first preseason game of the year, it would be a different story, wouldn't it? Right? But because they don't have media there covering it, and they're allowing the fans, they don't take their phones away from them, so they can record whatever they want and then post whatever they want and then make the narrative their own narrative, and then the media picks up off of that because pretty much the media is so lazy now. All they do is follow Twitter and pull shit from that and then just get their subjects from Twitter. So
which is why Eberflus said that he wants his guys out there and extended them out in preseason. Mm-hmm. He knows they need it.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, that offense.
Exactly. Yeah, we're playing all of our starters. First game. Yep.
That's
and
right.
They better.
Live fire. We need it right away.
Exactly. How else is Justin going to learn? I mean, of course you want to protect from injuries, but you got to put him out there, man. You got to put him out there.
It's all brand new pieces. The whole offensive line is new, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Oh, what's left? Cody Whitehair. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is pretty much new.
So plug it into your next point. You wanted to talk about coaching and focus and fundamentals.
Yeah. Now
I'm sorry to steer you off track. I'm just trying to.
No. I want to get to there. I want to get to there because what the thing about this regime, and I said it at the beginning of the podcast, that I feel like finally, like you said, what did you say? They got it right this time.
The blind squirrel has finally found the nut.
I was looking for it. They did, man. I think what they did was get themselves out of the equation and get some qualified people in there that know great coaches and know who they knew the people that can come in there and change a franchise around.
Right.
Turn around a bad situation. And, you know, I'm a black guy and I was looking and rooting for a black coach to be hired. I won't lie to you because there's not enough of us out there.
Mm-hmm.
However, I was not upset about Eberflus at fucking all. He deserved it. He earned it. That guy was he's been an assistant in this league for about 13, 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that guy, if you're talking about somebody that's earned it, it's him.
Yeah.
He's earned it. I don't give a shit if he was green. I don't care what color he is. That guy's a good coach, man.
Thank you.
That guy is a really good coach.
And a lot of people they want to go back to, they're trying to make it to where they're comfortable. They're bringing back the Lovie Smith era. They're being comfortable. No, it's not about the Lovie Smith era as much as I think it is about the coach himself. I wish I had my damn audio that had actual audio. It was just.
You know why they do that? You know why they do that, Shorty? It's because that's what's comfortable. We were a winning organization when those guys were there. So it's easy for people to default to that.
And if that's the case, I think that's where I think the blind squirrel got the nut, because he's not Lovie Smith. He's not running the same defense as Lovie Smith, but what he has similar, and I think might even be better than Lovie Smith, is his ability to unite men and to teach.
Yeah.
And I think his ability to teach, I think his ability to unite men is probably similar to Lovie's, maybe a little bit more. But I think his ability to teach is greater than Lovie Smith's. Lovie Smith never talked about going into the quarterback room with Rex Grossman and teaching him how to read a cover 2, cover 3, cover 4 defense, cover 1 defense. He never talked about that. Eberflus talks about doing that. He's in the quarterback rooms every day. He's in the he bounces around to the different position groups, meeting rooms throughout the week to just be. He's a head coach.
Absolutely.
And I think my optimism comes from all the little things that I notice about him as a man. And I look when I start looking at, it's kind of why I did my Kyler Gordon. Is Kyler Gordon on his way to a on his way to the Hall of Fame breakdown, or is Matt Eberflus a quote unquote great head coach? Because I did videos like that because I wanted to emphasize what I see in the person, not in the coach or the player. And I think it starts with the person. When you have the right person in place that knows how to handle situations, and they're critical thinkers, and they can look ahead into the future and find the problem. Like, you know, I'm not comparing myself by any means, but like one of the things I do if I have a problem, and you might do this too, Nomad, is if you're like having a problem you're struggling trying to solve a problem, or something is difficult to you, you might fall asleep thinking about it.
Absolutely.
And then it'll kind of help you to project it into your sleep, and all of a sudden it might come to you in like a mid sleep, or like you might wake up to it,
Subconscious.
and then right into your subconscious, and then all of a sudden you're like, that's the answer. Then you have the problem solved. I've done that so many times, and I've even heard some of the players on the Bears talking about projecting like that. Velus Jones did. He projects. He lays in. I mean, you know what I did, Nomad? In 2010, when the Bears played the Packers in the championship game, I knew they were going to lose that game. So I literally laid in bed for like 4 hours and like meditated, and I thought about all the different ways that they could win that, and all the different ways they could lose it. And I was in Denver at the time, and we drove like an hour and a half to Golden to watch the game at a Bears bar. And then when Cutler didn't come out after the second half with a knee injury, I was like, well, that's weird, because he didn't go down with a knee injury. Why is he not playing? I turned to my wife and I said, let's leave. She's like, what? I'm like, no, Caleb Haney's in the game. We're leaving. I don't want to watch this. I can't. I like the meditation that I put into that, and the foreshadowing, like, kind of shut me down. I was like, okay, I'm not pissed. I'm actually, I saw this happening in 5 different ways, and this is one of them. So I'm okay. Let's just go home. So like when you're able to do that kind of stuff, like some of the players are talking about, like Velus Jones, you can help yourself in the future by foreshadowing and projecting what can happen by just using your mind's eye to find the way to success, or find the way to the path you want to get to, you know?
You're talking about manifestation.
Exactly. Thank you.
You're talking about, and you heard, I'm trying to remember who that was up there at the press conference talking about they imagine themselves going through this or going through that.
It was Velus Jones. Yeah.
Velus, was it Velus?
Yeah.
No. It was somebody else. It was Jalen Johnson talking about he pictures himself going up against this receiver or that receiver. Remember that?
No, that was recently. Yeah, he was talking about he like replays certain like videos of a wide receiver going up, and it puts himself in that position. Yes.
Puts himself in that position in his mind, and that's called mental reps.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real thing. Mm-hmm. So let's just say you and I were at school at Alabama or something, and we had to face LSU, who's got the best two receivers in the country, and both of us was going to have to guard them.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched film all week, and we're taking the film home, watching it at home, and you end up going to sleep and you're thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
You get up thinking about it. And then when you're by yourself, you start to imagine what that's going to look like when the ball snaps.
Mm-hmm.
That's called mental reps. Roquan is doing that right now on the sidelines. He's not missing a beat, trust me. Mm-hmm. Even though he's not out there physically, he's not missing a fucking beat because he's taking those mental reps right there.
Yep.
So that's what that is. And it's the better you're able to manifest what it looks like for you in real time, the better you will be in real time.
Yep. And Velus Jones did do that. He did say the same thing as well. So there's two of them on the team that are saying that.
Right.
So those kind of things, when you hear that from players,
that's next level shit.
Exactly. Yeah. That's some next level shit, man. I love it.
It is. I mean, when you've taken it out of when you've taken it away from, let's say, a page or a computer or whatever film room you're looking at a screen in, and you're able to put that in your mind and exercise that actual action in your mind and what it looks like, you're heading towards the next level.
That's how you do anything. I mean, like if you want to build a table, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know how to build a table. Like, let's just say you want to build yourself a coffee table. You don't know how to do it. You have to sit and think about, like, what does that look like? How would I do that? Right? And you mentalize it in your head, and you picture it in your head. Then you kind of draw it all out, and then you go, okay, now at least I have that. I mean, that's how any kind of draft from any engineer comes up, right? They have to think it in their head. So when you're projecting forward, like as an athlete, you're almost using your brain as an engineer to move forward in a time to find the solution to what's going to happen in this moment. And hearing that from our athletes is just so exciting.
Let me steer this back to what we were talking about the. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you like the products that the product that the Ravens put on the field year in and year out?
Oh, of course. You can't. How can you not? Same with the Steelers.
What do you like about it?
They draft the right guys for their team every single year, don't they? They did this year too. They stole the draft this year again.
What about their attributes on the field? What is it about those teams when they playing football? What is it?
Hard-nosed, going to the ball, relentless pursuit, love of the game, and intelligent, and love for their coaches, following the coaches' orders.
Are they in the hunt every year?
Every year.
Every year.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you've heard about Eberflus and what he brings to the table and what he plans on instilling in his team, how eerily similar is that?
It's very similar.
Exactly.
It's the hustle, intensity, love for the game, players that love football. Well, the one thing that I will say different, the Bears from the Ravens, is the Bears are a little more on a higher character than the Ravens, right?
Right.
And the Bears like hit 5 home runs this year in their drafting with character or more.
Let me tie this one up. On building on that Ravens conversation, think about now. You can pull up the Ravens roster if you really want to get into some detail, but tell me what around Lamar Jackson was great, other than the tight end.
Running game.
Yep.
I know that for sure off the top. They had all the running game issues last year, losing other running backs. Defense.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive line.
Formula.
Mm-hmm.
What were we talking about?
To your point, formula. Yeah.
Formula. And Lamar Jackson, let me tell you something. I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. I like that dude. I think he's on his way to winning the damn Super Bowl eventually. If they can, in the end of the day, you can be a good team or just an average team with a really good foundation as a quarterback in a running game and win a Super Bowl. But if you can't stay healthy getting there, you may not get to that final landmark. They would have, I think, probably won a Super Bowl if Lamar Jackson would have stayed healthy. They played that good a defense and they ran the ball that well. In the mode of the Ravens is the direction I think the Bears are going. They don't have to be great on the outside, and you don't have to have 2,000 yard receiver. You don't have to have a 2,000 yard running back. What you have to have is production out of all those facets of the game. All of it. Receiving, tight ends, running backs. They need to be dynamic, and we got that. If you got the offensive line, I think we got going on, they will drive open holes for these running backs to exploit. And that's going to control games, and it's going to put the offense in a position to hand it to the defense, which is going to get takeaways a lot, and they're going to hand it back to the offense to get another bite at the apple. You don't have to be an explosive offensive team that scores 40 points. You don't.
Right.
Be absolutely hellacious on defense. Give that ball back. Run that ball. Make a play when you need to, quarterback, and we'll be fine.
Defense, run the ball, and then you have the wild card in Justin Fields, who is more of a pocket quarterback than a Lamar Jackson, someone who is not going to run it.
He's a better thrower than Lamar, man.
Right.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm agreeing with you 1,000%. He's a much better thrower. That's my only issue with Lamar Jackson, and my fear that he won't win a Super Bowl is that he is more. One of the things I don't like about his passes are a little bit. There's not enough biscuit in the basket on some of his passes, if you will, like the one that Fields threw to Mooney against the Lions on the right sideline down at like the 5-yard line. I mean, dropped it right into his. Lamar Jackson has a little bit more of a laser to his passes. I love his throwing motion, his throwing style. I think that he just has a little bit more of a laser on his balls than Trubisky does. That's why I think he's better than Lamar Jackson.
He is. He's a better. Lamar Jackson is better than Fields. 0 yards to 15 yards. Fields is better than him, 15 yards and out. Why I say that is because Lamar Jackson has grown accustomed to targeting his tight ends. That is something that I think Justin Fields is going to adjust to this year and become better at. However, downfield, this dude, man, I'm talking about dimes.
Yeah, I know.
Dimes.
Biscuit in the basket.
Man, you know what kind of depth perception you need to have to be able to throw. I mean, measuring somebody's speed and where they're going to be versus where you're throwing that ball.
Got to put the arc on the ball. The ball's got to go up and come down.
Dude, this is not an exact science. You have to actually have a knack for that.
Yeah, and there's like Cam Newton. That's why I don't compare him to Cam Newton at all, because Cam Newton, while he was a great quarterback for a moment in time, he had too many frozen ropes. He didn't have the ability to put the touch, the arc on the ball like Fields does. And that's why I'm so high on Fields. Like, I mean, I've watched every single damn documentary that he has, and I put him I put the links to them in the previous video that I did about him, and his accuracy is just everything about him is just sexy. It's just sexy.
I think, you know what I think is going on here? I think that the people of this part of the country and the Chicago Bears medium have been looking for that guy for such a long time and have been slapped in the face over believing that was that guy so many times. that once the guy is actually here, now you got to sit there and shoot holes in him, try to find fault in him.
Right.
And look for the negativity in him because you just don't want it. You've been slapped in the face too many times.
Oh, we drafted a left-handed quarterback in Cade McNown. Oh, we traded a first-round pick for what's his name from Seattle? Number 3 from Seattle. Oh man, I'm losing my train of thought.
What are we talking about?
The Bears drafted Cade McNown, right?
Right.
And with the 11th pick and like the 2000 draft or something. Then they gave up on him and they went for they traded a first-round pick to Seattle for their quarterback. I can't think of his name right now. He wore number 3 for Seattle. Anyway, yeah, Rick Meyer. That failed them, right? So then they went a few years and they drafted Grossman. And Grossman was on his way to an MVP season. Everyone was talking about him being the MVP of the league. He had like 4 touchdowns in like 3 games in a row or something. Like, not literally, just thinking out loud, like trying to remember the stats. But he was dominating through the first 7 games of the season. And then comes that Monday night game against the Arizona Cardinals when he got exposed for having small hands. And the media destroyed him. Right? Then we go out and we trade for then we draft Kyle Orton. Then the media starts breaking him down. Oh, he's all the same shit that I would say about him, right? And then we go and get Cutler, and then the media just destroys Cutler. Oh, let's make a cigarette emoji out of him, like it's smoking Jay Cutler. Like you just can't make anyone happy in Chicago.
This is a tough
quarterback.
This is a tough city, a tough media market, tough fans. It's just a tough fan base to deal with.
I know, like why?
You got to be a motherfucker to win here.
Because
I guarantee you that.
I've said it before, like how much of the media in Chicago actually are Bears fans, right? They grew up in different states, most likely, most of them, a few of them grew up there. But they all have to ask the questions for their jobs, right? To keep their jobs healthy, so they're going to ask the dumb questions when they shouldn't. And they're just going to keep putting the quarterback in the same position throughout the course of time with their stupid questions and just ruining them over the course of time. And I'm just, for crying out loud, can we just get one of them to pull through this bullshit and see past all of it and ignore them? And I think that we finally have that person in Justin Fields.
You know why? It's because he's and we didn't touch on this when we had the Justin subject up. But listen, man, this is the exact kind of guy that you would want to have in that position. He don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
He don't give. I mean, he cares, but as far as what me and you were talking about, what Adam Holt and all those kind of people, he don't care. He don't care.
Did you see any of the documentaries of him on YouTube?
I have. I've seen a couple.
You see where his dad, like, he was mowing the lawn in the dark, and his dad's like, well, you wanted to go out after the game.
Hey,
mow the lawn in the dark, and he's like, yep.
Let me tell you something about that guy, man.
Good parenting, man.
Let me tell you about that guy.
His dad?
There is something unseen about Justin as a football player that unless you played or been in a competitive environment, you don't have to have played football. But unless you've been in a competitive environment and seen someone like Justin that ain't going to say much to you, he's just going to go out there and he's going to perform. And as soon as you think, just because he's not making all the noise and all the hoopla, that guy has a tiger inside of him. I see it in his eyes.
Yep.
I seen it at Clemson, in the Clemson game.
Mm-hmm.
I seen it the Green Bay game.
There's certain players you see that, like you were saying, the tiger in their eye. If they get injured, it makes them better, right? Like Justin Fields getting his ribs broken in that game against Clemson, he comes back and throws touchdowns after that.
Somebody like Justin, you got to damn near kill him, get him off the field.
He reminds me of another great in Chicago, Michael Jordan.
Telling you,
in the fact, just in his will, in his demeanor, in his just desire to be great. And he's so young. You can already tell he's like in his press conferences now. He's like, yeah, I already got this media down. I'm not gonna adhere to your bullshit. You know,
he's not. Listen, Shorty, he's cut different.
mm-hmm.
He is absolutely cut different. And when I tell you, some people think, just because of his demeanor, that maybe he doesn't fully understand what's on his lap
Mm-hmm.
and what's on his back.
Mm-hmm.
I think he fully gets it, and he's just like, okay, whatever. Shit.
Fully agree with that.
All right, I'm gonna do what I do, and I'm gonna find a way to win games. We are gonna win games. We're gonna score points. You heard him say that in the press conference,
mm-hmm.
and he knows he is. It's just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna dominate the league. Justin Fields is gonna be on the cover of Madden in the next 2 years.
Well, and considering that the last few Madden covers haven't had a season-ending injury, that'd be great with me.
I'm telling you, man, this is a special dude, man.
I agree, man. I'm so excited for this season. You might not have heard this, but when I think about the Niners game, I think of the Bears backing up the Niners to the 2-yard line, and the Bears got a safety. Every time I think about that game, the first image that comes to my mind is Bears have them at the 2-yard line, and they get a safety. I don't know why, but I'm predicting a safety in that game. We'll see what happens.
You know what I wish that people, and there's one more little thing I wanted to talk about before. You still want to get into talk to the chat or no?
We only have a couple guys in here. We have Nick and Leo.
I mean, they worth something too. They hung in there with us.
Of course, absolutely. No, I'm 100%. But we never got in our green room. We never got to the 9 and 10 of your 10.
Well, I want to get to at least 9.
Okay.
I want to get to at least 9 before we get to.
You have one more to go then.
All right. So I for evaluating talent. You got that?
No, I never wrote it down because we never got that far.
I for evaluating talent, and I think that's something I've heard them discuss out in their press conferences between Poles and Eberflus, and I believe what Eberflus is doing is what I think a good GM is a guy that's basically, you should be the milkman for your head coach. Mm-hmm. Your head coach is creating the meal. He's making the meal. He needs all of his ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't haul off and hand him a pack of hot dogs and tell him to make you a gourmet meal, do you?
No.
He needs his ingredients, and he's depending on you to do that. To me, the relationship between that GM and that coach is all important. Mm-hmm. All important. That GM should be an extension of the coach, and I see that happening. He's going in there and telling Poles, hey, man, I'm looking at this on tape. Let's go look at this tape together. What do you see? And Poles is like, you know what? I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
That guy right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go. Let's bring him in here and let's see what he's talking about. Let's see if it's an opportunity for us to grab him.
Yeah.
And I think he's listening to his coach. And that, to me, out of a lot of things, I focus on more. Eberflus is getting his way, and I think he should be. What I mean by that is everybody wanted that receiver or that, those receivers in the draft. Everybody was mad because we didn't get him. Mm-hmm. However, Poles is listening to his coach and say, if we can't do anything else, let's make sure we're dominant on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
And let's give this quarterback a chance to, we can give him this ball back if we're dominant on defense. And I think these guys right here, if we get these guys in this draft, I think it's going to make a difference.
And he goes up and gets 2 of the best defensive players in the draft for him, 1-2, gives him an offensive weapon, and then just trades down and just stocks offensive linemen for him and says, one of these guys is going to stick.
Right.
Yeah.
Both of them are hell of a players. I mean, Jaquan Brisker, listen, he's not the best player out of the two of them. It's absolutely Kyler Gordon. However, he's going to make the most impact right away. Why? It's because he's going to be around the ball a lot more in his position. Jaquan Brisker. Jaquan Brisker will be around the ball. Yeah. He'll be around the ball a lot more because that's the nature of his position.
He's already all over the ball in camp, and everyone's like,
oh yeah,
like holy shit, what's going? This kid's all over the ball. He's everywhere the ball is. You know one of those players. You see him on tape. Oh my god! Yeah. It's like you remember looking at Urlacher. It's like Urlacher is on every single fucking tackle in this game. What in the hell? Then you're like, oh, so is Peanut Tim. Oh, so is Lance. Oh, so is Mike Brown. Oh. That's why there's so many turnovers.
I had a guy in school like that. He's a white guy from somewhere in Pennsylvania. I can't remember where he's from. We used to call him Chief. He was half Indian, half Irish. Call him Chief Joe. He's a free safety. No, he's actually a strong safety. I take that back. Man, that guy, and you know what? This is a poor comparison. I take this back. But he was nowhere near as fast and fluid as Jaquan Brisker. But boy, oh boy, was that son of a gun ever around the ball all the time. And constantly being physical. Constantly. And he just when I see Jaquan Brisker play, they're around the same height, probably the same measurements, weight, and all that kind of stuff. Jaquan's a much better athlete. But man, we just call him Chief, and man, this guy just always around the ball. He just had a nose for it.
Jaquan is. I cannot wait to see what he does this year. Him and Gordon they're both so exciting. I can't wait. And plus, you have Johnson is already established. You add those other two elements to Eddie Jackson and Johnson.
And we got some players in there that we're gonna probably have to do another podcast to talk about. There's guys in there.
Hey, Nomad, you're welcome on any time, man.
We'll see. I don't know how this is gonna come off. I think it's gonna be halfway decent. How do I sound?
You sound great, man.
We'll see.
I think that there might not be there's the chat room is probably because I didn't announce it soon enough. I didn't put out the ledger for people to see the video is coming out in like an hour. I only did it with like 15 minutes to go. So
I know better than to measure what this podcast could be off of what is happening live. Everybody doesn't know that this podcast exists right now.
Exactly.
They will see it on wherever they find it, and it'll be people looking at it, and they'll be more interested next time and the next time and the next time. This is how these things work.
And I promise you that what you're saying here tonight is going to draw a lot of people, and I really appreciate you for coming on, man. You are you've been awesome tonight. It's been a pleasure.
We're gonna talk to the people in the chat right quick, man. We need
absolutely, man. I got some questions here for you. We got Leo says this.
You gonna put me on mute right quick while I piss again? All the cheap beer.
Well, I'll ask you the question. You can hold on. Let me ask you the question. You think about it while you piss. Does Aaron Rodgers tell us that he owns us again? Mute. So if you want my honest opinion, if Aaron Rodgers tells us he owns us again, then we have a big problem because they need to, as Steve says, be physical and tough. And the next time that they catch that weaselly little mushroom eater running out of bounds to his left or right, they need to just take his fucking head off and put him out of bounds, get the personal foul, and set the point for the game. Because when you see that kind of shit happening against the Bears last year, and they hit Fields out of bounds and don't get the personal foul on Fields, as far as I'm concerned, thank you, Leo. Whack him. Take the penalty. Set the precedence. Start the game off. I don't care. What do they do to... Let's see if he's back here. Are you back?
I'm good.
Okay. So now we're talking about knocking Aaron Rodgers' head off in the game just to set the precedence. So
what's the original question?
Leo said, does Aaron Rodgers tells us that he owns us again?
Tell Leo go sit his ass down, man.
Yeah.
Asking those trick questions and shit. No, but he gonna get his ass handed to him this time.
Man, I was saying, me and my buddy Steve were talking about last year, like during that game when they hit Fields out of bounds and they didn't get the personal foul on him. It's like they had 2 chances in that game when Aaron Rodgers was running out of bounds to take his ass out. And they didn't do it because they were pussyfooting around in the game. Just nail him out of bounds, put him on his ass, get the personal foul, 15 yards, doesn't matter. He already gained a first down. You already know, you can tell they're on their way to an offensive touchdown on this drive because of how things are going right now. Set the precedence. Put him on his ass. Take the personal foul. Let him know. Stand over him. Talk shit into his face. Make it worth it. Get ejected. I don't give a shit. Because that's what the Packers did to us back in the day. Have you seen some of the shit that they did to us? Running Walter Payton out of bounds, like all the way through the entire team, all the way into the bench, trying to push Walter Payton into the electrical equipment that was behind the bench. And Walter is like tough. He's strong enough to be able to pull the defender with him and stop him from going over the bench into the, giant fan that was behind the bench. The Charles Martin hit, on Jim McMahon that all but ended his damn career. Like there's so many more. There was a late hit on a Matt Suey block for Walter Payton, and then the play was over, and the safety came from 20 yards out and blasted Matt Suey right in his face. I mean, it had to be a concussion, and we don't do that shit to the Packers now.
Shorty,
but they do it to us still.
Let me acknowledge something first before I get into where I'm going with this. First of all, Aaron Rodgers and his way of life and his politics and all that shit put to the side. That is the baddest motherfucker I ever seen throw a football in my entire life. Period. I don't care where he plays at. That's a bad motherfucker. That's a bad motherfucker.
Please don't make me admit it.
Dude, that dude is, I've never seen anything like that. This dude, listen, all that being said, I got to give him his props. And that's just the football player in me. I'm going to respect what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And put that to the side. Now, fast forward to now. You take the absolute best receiver in the NFL, Devontae Adams, and take him away from him. Give him all pretty much. The only thing he's got there that's familiar with him is, and who knows how much he's going to play as number 18. What's his name? Randall Cobb. We talking about Alan Lazard being a number 1 receiver.
Mm-hmm.
We talking about he's pretty much out there with brand new pieces, which is, and they have an improved defense, but that's on paper. Let's see what they look like when they got to suit it up and get in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
He just broke the team, and basically he handcuffed the team and hamstrung them into the ability to be able to put stuff around him with the money he just took from them.
Mm-hmm.
I think he just put it on cruise control. I think he just put it in gear. He doesn't care no more.
No, he does not.
Yeah, I think he just shifted right into cruise control, and whatever happens, happens.
I know, man. I can't disagree with you. He's like, fuck it. I'm the leader of the league right now. Like I am the top veteran of the quarterback of the league right now.
They ain't winning no ring.
Right.
I'm
gonna go out and start dating a witch and start doing mushrooms. Fuck it, I don't care. It's like maybe if I do some mushrooms, that'll help me to throw to these shitty wide receivers I have.
I'll throw some holy water on that motherfucker. She'll burn right up. Man, dude, that he's in change. I don't know what's going on with him. I'll keep my little side comments about him to the side, but golly, man, they are not what they are is right for the picking.
No, I know.
I know.
All that stuff being said, those guys are right for the picking.
I probably should have said all that about him, but it's
no. You hit it, and you didn't go overboard, so we're good. You're good.
I just 30 plus years of Hall of Fame quarterbacks for me is enough.
Man, he is an exceptional. I've never seen a quarterback that can throw. You can give me all the Tom Brady crap you want to. He's got more rings, but that guy right there, man, I've never seen a quarterback throw footballs like that and be that accurate in my life.
And when you saw him coming out of college, he held the ball real high and kind of threw it really weird. He didn't. I actually,
a lot like Justin.
Exactly. Thank you. And I laughed my ass off when the Packers drafted him because I was like, ha ha ha! You just wasted your first round pick on a bust quarterback. And goddamn was I wrong. But he held the ball high. He threw it a different way. Now he holds the ball a little bit lower. He flicks it off of his wrist. When you watch him throw, like his wrist is just he's a totally different quarterback from now to the day he was drafted. And I'm seeing, in comparison, like you're saying to Justin, I'm seeing last year's Justin to this year's Justin is a dramatic difference in the throwing motion. And that's what excites me so much about the new coaching staff and Getsy. And you can see that he's putting the work into the quarterback and the quarterback is learning it. And he's putting the work into learning it from Getsy. And it's starting to show. The release is compact, more quick. It's coming out faster. There's less wasted motion. I mean,
yeah,
I'm so excited for this, man. I can't wait for the first preseason game.
Where he launches the ball from, let's say you didn't know where Aaron Rodgers was his first couple of years in the league because he didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
But his first couple of years as a pro is absolutely different than what he is now.
100%, yeah.
And Justin's will be too. His launch platform and how he releases that ball. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers, I can get carried away with this because I actually watched it in detail.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is absolutely nobody throws a ball like him.
I agree.
Nobody.
I did too. Like the 49ers pass that he threw to Jesse James on the left side of the end zone, where he flicked it off of his wrist. That was an Aaron Rodgers kind of a pass.
Man.
And when you have the coach that's been working with Aaron Rodgers, that's been teaching him the same kind of things, the throwing concepts, throwing motions, how to hold the ball, how to throw it to make it more compact. Those are coming from the same quarterback. Well, he wasn't his. Well, yeah, he was his quarterback coach. Yeah, that's coming from the same quarterback coach as we now have. That's quarterback, quote unquote, coaching our current quarterback. I'm excited.
I tell you one thing that really encouraged me about Justin in the offseason is I was hearing stories about him working with Phillip Rivers. Mm-hmm. And people might say, oh, Phillip Rivers, like, he never won shit and he ain't done all that kind of stuff. I'll tell you something. Look a little deeper. Mm-hmm. Phillip Rivers was a very good quarterback. Dude. Very good. There's a lot of very good quarterbacks that didn't win at all.
Mm-hmm.
And just his ability to read defenses is what turned me on to the conversation. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. You talking about Phillip Rivers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's kind of in that Dan Marino kind of a conversation, isn't he?
Yeah, kind of.
Just he was good enough to win multiple, but never won one.
He became very good at recognizing what was in front of him and what was happening pre-snap, and burning your ass post-snap.
Mm-hmm.
And that's you can't piss on that.
Mm-hmm.
That guy was good at that.
Absolutely, man. I gotta tell you, this has been a pleasure to talk with you, Nomad. You're a lot of fun, man.
I appreciate it, man. I enjoyed it.
Did you have any more points to your? You had 10 points. I thought you were at 9, but I think you got them all right.
Well, I mean, I think there's other stuff to talk about, but if you're ready to get off, we need to get off if you want.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, we're going on like 2.5 hours. I think we should probably wrap this up.
Right.
Hey, you're
Any
welcome
more
on
questions,
anytime.
Lou?
You're welcome on any time, man. We can continue this conversation. Let's not make it 6 hours. We can divide it into sub fraction. We can divide it up, you know.
This is a fun little couple of hours, almost 3 hours, then, man.
I'm glad you had
Fun.
fun. I mean, it's been a pleasure for me too.
I enjoy talking shit like this.
Me too, man. And we need more of it because there's just too much negativity. It really is.
Hey, you've seen nothing. Wait until a bad preseason game happens.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not going to go off on my own rants and shit if they lose, a game 50-0. Of course I am, but we're undefeated right now, right? So we need to just enjoy this time, right?
Just take it easy. Damn it, man.
Yeah.
Let it play out. Every team is a different team than the one you seen last year. Let shit play out. Let the shit come together, man.
Just because you're facing a playoff team from last year does not mean it's a playoff team this year.
Man, geez.
Yeah, the Packers Rodgers could, blow out his knee in the first game. All of a sudden, it's the Bears division. 11
Hey, man.
Is that possible, right?
I've never seen a great meal being cooked in 10 minutes.
Exactly.
Shit.
Nothing.
Maybe a hot dog or something, but
nothing that's that great is done that easily, right?
Take your time, let the shit come together.
Absolutely, man. Let's I think I have all the questions that we had. I think I had one more.
What you got?
Nick was asking if the offense struggles early, do you think the defense is enough can do enough to keep us in the games? And
yeah. You want to answer that? You go ahead.
No, my answer is yes. I think the defense is going to be. It's going to be. We're not even thinking about the defense because we're all focused on the offense, right? So none of us are really thinking about defense. In fact, we probably talked about defense the most tonight than a lot of people have done recently, because we're also focused on the damn offense taking the next step, and we're also focused on everything going wrong with the offense via the quote unquote home videos that people are making, so without even showing the entire play, you're just seeing one wide receiver with the pass overthrown over his head, so you're not even seeing how the play broke down to have that happen. You're not seeing the quarterback's view or the quarterback even throwing the ball in a lot of these instances. So there's just a lot of overhype. There's a lot of stuff that's just it's preseason. I mean, to be honest, this is the reason why I wanted to do this Nomad at this point in time, was because I know we're all exhausted talking about the same shit over and over again like a broken record, but at least it helps to build momentum into the season. So when the season begins, then we're really going to get it. We're going to have a lot of fun. And I'll talk to you about some of the things I want to do in the future. And we'll see if you want to be involved in some of that. That would be awesome if you do.
Okay.
Awesome.
You ready to get off? I was going to answer Nick, but
no, go. It's your turn. You answered, Nick.
Nick, if you were an incoming head coach with a roster you pretty much had to turn over, and you wanted to install a new offense that's if you're a defensive minded head coach that gave you a problem when you were a defensive head coach, which is what the wide zone scheme must have done to Matt Eberflus. However, that offense is going to take some time to get the clunkiness out. You're going to have to go through some stuff in order to make that offense effective. However, in the meantime, what would you want to do to keep you competitive and in games? Invest your chips into the defense, which is what they did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they're going to double time, especially in the first few 3 or 4 games. Mm-hmm. They're going to really heavily lean on the defense.
Mm-hmm. The defense is going to be what's going to keep this team in the games. It has to be.
And it's going to.
Steve Sigmund wants to know, who's the best player that you covered?
I would just say he played at Marshall, and he's in the Hall of Fame.
Whoa. Wow. No shit.
And I didn't even name drop.
That's so awesome, man.
I didn't even name drop it.
I won't even say the name. We all know.
You don't need to say it. Ain't no need to say it.
Wow,
He's,
dude.
as advertised, he's that dude.
I bet, man. What is he, 6'4"?
6'5", 6'6", more.
Yeah, 6'4", 6'5".
He's long.
5'11"? Yeah.
I tell you something that nobody ever talks about with him is look at his arms.
Mm-hmm.
And how you can be running side by side with him and think you in the play. And he stretched them arms out. If that ball is placed right, he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Them arms is like them some go gadget arms for you. Piss you off when you got a guard.
Go gadget arms.
I'm serious, man.
I try to use those all the time when because I used to be 6'2", now I'm like 6 foot.
Man,
I'm shrinking.
Hey, let me tell you something about that guy, man. That guy is not the fastest dude off the release of the ball. However, if you don't get your hands on him and be physical with him at the line of scrimmage and let him get around your towards the boundary, towards the sidelines, if he gets around you, it's over with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how fast you is. He just them long ass legs, man. He just starts separating on you.
For sure. Yeah, his stride and his run was just incredible.
Piss you off.
Yeah. Not that we're naming names.
Who else? What else you got, man? You got any more questions?
Anyone else have any more questions in chat? Well, it might take a second for it to pull up because there's a delay, but I mean, this has just been a pleasure talking with you, Nomad. I mean, seriously, you're welcome on Bears Country Podcast anytime. I hope you come on as much as you want, man. For real.
Hey, I don't know what I sound like on this podcast, and don't really care. I'm just bringing a perspective that is not readily available out there,
and that's what I'm looking for. You know, that's where my brain goes. I think outside the box all the time, and it's kind of what's, you know, it's almost been annoying to people the course of my whole life. Like, why are you thinking about it like that? Like, well, it's because I think about everything in so many different perspectives. You know, like I could talk about aliens with you for days. I could talk about whatever with you for days. I mean, I've seen my own UFOs. I have videos of them. I mean, you know, like things like that. Like, it's just
whole other conversation.
A whole other conversation, man. You know, but we could do that for days about Bears. And it's awesome to have someone like you that's been at all the chats to come out here and share all of your Bears love with me and all the knowledge that you have of football and just your perspective. It's really, truly been a pleasure for me to have you on here, Nomad. I really appreciate it. And like I said, you are welcome on in the future any time you want, my friend.
Well, let me give you a shout out before we get out of here, man. I just want to say to you, thank you. I mean, you didn't have to invite me here. You didn't have to. Well, I think I asked you, and you didn't have to accept. I thought that I think you just jumped out there and decided it's time for me to get out there and get my Bears thoughts out there. I've been thinking it, and you actually did it. And I'm basically getting in your footprints. And so I appreciate you having me on here and laying the platform out ahead of time and giving us an avenue. You know, I love to get back into the bar room and we do some stuff together with them. I want you to think about that. And no matter how this looks and sounds to other people, but if they like it, I definitely want to do some stuff in conjunction with the bar room because I think although it's open to it, I've kind of talked to him privately, and I think he'll maybe he'll look at this podcast and say, hey, you know what? Maybe y'all might be on to something. Might be a little Dan and Aldo away from the bar room.
And
I don't know.
I've kind of talked to him about some things too, and there might be I can see where there would be some room for you in there with that as well, for sure. So that's for a private conversation, but yeah. I could see that happening for sure, man. You know your shit. You got great conversation, great dialogue. You speak well. You work well with people and how you speak, and it's been a pleasure to have you on for me. And to be honest, I was, this is what I want to do. I want to have people from chat on. Anyone who's in chat here that wants to join me live, you're welcome to do that. So
careful.
Anyone can just send an email to bearscountrypodcast@gmail.com, and I will reach out to you and we can arrange to have you on the show. Sounds good.
I appreciate you, Shorty.
I appreciate you, Nomad. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. We'll be having you on again. Thank you, everyone in chat. And
thank you, Kitty Cat. I see that. I appreciate you.
And just in case you don't know, we like to end the show here with a Bears. Ready? So we're gonna do a 1, 2, 3 Bears. So ready? 1, 2, 3
Bears.
Bears. Bears. Bears. Bears. Bears. Bears. Bears. Bears.
Bears Country Podcast.
Oh.